Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small, reviled, hated law firm in central Minnesota, arch nemesis of a fat, dumpy, boring lawyer sitting in Hawaii, not actually being a lawyer or anything like that, just sitting there, whining about my women's on Twitter. And my women's would be quite a stretch. Quite a stretch. What's up, guys? How's it going tonight? We have some good stuff. We have some good stuff coming. We have, oh my goodness, we have yawns. Oh my word. We've got part 3 of the deposition of Vic Mignogna tonight. We are going to go through that. It should be, you know, more of Vic. But let me tell you what I've got. I have 3 more hours. Yes, you heard that correctly. 3 more hours of Vic's deposition. If that doesn't tell you what they're trying to do, I don't know what can. They've been asking all of these questions, and if you notice, none of them are that impactful, but they do run the full gambit of time on Vic. So we are not going to get through this whole deposition tonight. There's no way we're doing that. We will do an hour and a half tonight, an hour and a half tomorrow. That's the plan. I'm going to try and stick to it. So that's what you should be looking forward to. So one more Vic deposition stream. Monica's deposition, I've seen a lot of people asking if Monica's deposition will have a part 2. It will not currently, unless she is deposed again. Monica's deposition is done. I believe Ron Toye's is done too, although it ended very abruptly. And it felt like there should be, why am I yawning? Dear God. It felt like there should be more of Ron's deposition. I'll have to double check and see. I thought that I aired the whole thing, but I'll verify and make sure that there's nothing left of Ron's deposition. But Monica's is done. It was a short hour and 45 minutes. It was a devastating hour and 45 minutes. Carrie Christie, like a surgeon, went ahead and excised several tumors from Monica's testimony, and found plenty of contradictions, really bad statements. I should just I guess I should just sleep. I don't know, should I sleep? I don't know why I am yawning so much. This is crazy. I mean, the narcolepsy, but goodness gracious. As we get into it, hopefully I'll pick up here. I could do the Monica smile or something. Just nuts. Maybe I haven't drank enough. I was on the kill stream. Well, the Ralph retort a little bit earlier. Dark V has passed away. I didn't have much interaction with Dark V, but went over there to show my support for a few minutes, and he did start drinking a little bit of this clear whiskey. So maybe I just haven't. I got to get that second whiskey down, and then that'll help it. That'll help it. All right. I also have Milo's, so we're gonna be good. But yeah. So let me talk briefly about Monica's deposition as people filter in before we start up Vic part 3 here. Monica's deposition. So again, the order of these things is actually Vic, and then the next day was Ron, and the next day was Monica. So if you remember, this might contextualize some things. If you remember, Ron's deposition had a really rough part in it where Casey, the lawyer for Ron Noodle Arms Toye, Casey decided to tell Carrie Christie that she needed to behave like a good white knight. He went ahead and told the woman in the room to behave. And the thing about that is it's not so condescending because she's a woman. It's very condescending because she's an associate attorney, and he told the associate attorney to behave without addressing the senior attorney in the room, who was also conducting the deposition. It was just it was kind of a breach of decorum, not really appropriate. And I'm not sure, he said that Carrie was making snide comments about his client. I'm not sure that was actually happening. So, So that said, that ended up very, very tense. And if you notice in that deposition, when they came back after that break, the energy in the room changed. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but Casey was muted. He did not. He was not as animated. He was not. His objections were not as. There's not as much conversation. Frankly, I think he got backed down a little bit by Ty. Not that Ty is the most imposing guy in the room, but when you're a simp, I guess, so you get scared of someone. I don't know. But he got back down. Ron got back down. Well, the next day, of course, is Monica's deposition. And that's what we just watched. What you don't see, and you guys are not going to believe this is true. I know it. I tweeted about this earlier, and I swear to God it's true, okay? Swear to God. Ron Toye shows up to Monica's deposition in a wife beater, showing off his tattoos, and mean mugging Carrie Christie. So Ron Toye shows up as the butch lesbian in the relationship to go ahead and flex on Carrie Christie, who's like 5'5'2", maybe, a very, very petite woman. And Ron Toye thought that he could just like intimiglare at her with his little wife beater, his cool arm tattoos that he has, apparently. I'm definitely not making it up. I didn't believe it. I got it confirmed. Toye showed up looking like the biker girlfriend. Whew. Now, why did he do that? I don't think, if I'm gonna give Ron credit, I don't think he did that to intimidate Carrie Christie. I think he was gonna go try and intimidate Ty, thinking Ty was gonna depose Monica the next day, and he was gonna be the sheepdog. I can't think. It's too funny to me. I don't know how to process what that would even look like. I mean, I imagine if you, have you ever been to a hibachi place where they do the noodles? So like you got a pile of like thick udon or buckwheat noodles or whatever, and they dump shoyu and soy sauce all over them, and then they put them on your plate, and it's like this sad heap of slimy noodles. That's what I imagine. Like, put a wife beater on that, and that's Ron Toye. That's how intimidating it is. Like, oh, good, it's a half serving of salty noodles. Great. I'm devastated. But no, that was apparently the plan. So again, the energy in the room is completely different. Now, if you want to know, not that this overly affected Carrie's deposition strategy, but Carrie is very good at deposition. She and she did this very well. She built up rapport with Monica very quickly. She established common ground. They were laughing, they were smiling. Some people thought she was softballing Monica, and I don't even want to know what softballing Monica would look like. Some people thought she was doing that, but what she was really doing was disarming her, getting past the barriers. Now, whether or not, how much Carrie factored in the previous day into that strategy versus how much is just her strategy is, I couldn't tell you that. Maybe someday I'll get to ask her and get an answer on that. I don't know. I would imagine it's just part of her normal deposition demeanor, because she did it excellently. But regardless, having that strategy was very effective at diffusing the tension in the room, because Monica is sitting there ready for a fight. That's what she's expecting. She's expecting Ty to come in and be a bully. But I have it on good authority that Ty's kind of a softie. So, you know. So that's what was going on. I mean, some of the big moments from that deposition, we've got Monica admitting that, man, it sure looks like jealousy. I mean, it sure looks like jealousy. Vic was on the cover. I was not, even though I had the bigger role. So, I mean, that was very, very transparent. That burns her up dramatically, and you can tell. The other parts, she had the comment about the weird revision of the hotel story. So now apparently they were gonna go to dinner, but instead they went to Vic's room first, where he allegedly takes her roughly in the barn, and then she's too scared to move, but she knew Stan was going to come up. So Stan comes up, saves the whole day. They all go to dinner. And then she goes back to his room to do a phone call with Michelle, which is very, very weird. Again, like such an inconsistency in this story. So someone assaults you. Now, I had always, maybe I just misread it, but when I first read that story, I swear that I read that they went to dinner, and then at dinner Vic invited her up to his room after, and then she went up to his room there, and that's why she was there to have to make the phone call with Michelle after Stan came by for some reason. I don't know. The story keeps changing. It's very different. Yes, envy, not jealousy. Okay. Let's not be pedantic here. It's the idea. It's covet. I want what is theirs. So that was a big problem for her. Trouble with the twins, maybe just having an email out there that they just haven't produced because it didn't say Vic. It was about Vic, and they talked about all this stuff that happened with Vic, but it didn't say Vic. Her admitting that she like everybody else didn't actually read the Tao of Dragon Ball article written by Derek Padula. I will, with some candor, say Derek Padula reached out to me to talk, and I have not responded. I don't know if I saw it before today, but it was in my Facebook Messenger requests of like people I don't, aren't friends with, but they send me message requests, and I happened to look over there and saw it today. So Derek, if you're out there, I'll think about it. I don't really know what I have to say to you, frankly. The really sad part is they included that article in their exhibits. However, both Monica and Ron admitted to not knowing about that article. So that's going to be complex, I guess. A very strange argument to be made that this article exists that confirms our things, except we never read it, and we would have to base it on that. So, I don't know. I don't know what their idea with that is, but that's what they've done. So, good moves all around. So today we're going to get back into Vic's deposition. First, we're going to talk about the GoFundMe. I have to be ready. Of course, my promise is to bring up the GoFundMe every time it's mentioned by Jay Sean Lemoyne or anybody else if they want to know about the GoFundMe. Whenever they talk about it, I'm going to pop it up and plug it a little bit. So let's do that right now. So here we are, the GoFundMe. Let me refresh it. I think it should be $225,518 of $300,000. So it just keeps going up. Thank you so much, of course, for all of your continued support. The names, guys, look at this. These are just from the past few minutes. Gayshawn La Lion Meat, Monica's multi-threaded krill-infested whale baleen floss, Sea Biscuits missing dentures. And in this corner, hailing from the Texas Public Sex Offender Registry, weighing it at 98 pounds, soaking wet, you can only just imagine the barren wasteland where I grow my F's, watered only with Monica's deposition tears. Mike Dunford's doctorate professor. I did actually pull up. These are all new. Those are all ones I had not seen yet. The names are great. I do have the names pulled up, and I'm gonna let's do those here. These are the ones I've got here. So as you can see, we've got Monica Rial's very rich dentist. When another set of dropped panties is about to come forward, then Jadoff puts them back on as he ... The mouth swisher water in Monica's Rial's full bladder. Oh God. What is that? Here, look. First of all, the amount of water she ingests with each contact with the bottle. God, it's like some sort of sand beast trying to quench itself. Why? J. Sean Gacy, clown lawyer and soy boy whisperer. Jesse, I lied about Todd raping me Pridemore. That one's brutal. Straight to the point on that one. I like it. Feeling super gay for Hero Hay. The non-existent friendship Emmett has with Vic. This is a common theme, right? This is a common theme. You know, when Ty asks Ron, do you have a crush on Vic Mignogna? And Ron's like, no. You've got weirdos like Shane. Look, I know Vic. I work with Vic all the time. Vic and I know Vic. I'm friends with Vic. You got Emmett Plant. Yeah, man, I met Vic. I know Vic. Interacted with him. All these weird thirsty boys who claim to know Vic. And really just, it's a little bit unnerving. Next, we've got the krill being swished around in Monica's teeth. This one's mean. West Nile is best Nile. I've seen it a couple times. I chuckle every time, and then I get a little sad. But it's funny. $80 from the 80 teeth in Monica's mouth. Ron Sawyer's missing testosterone. Monica's Sharpie eyebrows. And then finally, I have to bring this one on the screen. This one was my favorite, mainly just because of today, and I'll talk about this before we get started really quickly. This will just take a minute. Mike, hello, fellow academics, Dunford. So Mike is really mad, guys. Mike is very, very upset. Mike is, yeah, how dare I question the traumatic story of Monica Rial being assaulted in her hotel room, in Vic's hotel room. Vic should never question when a woman is crying, because if a woman is crying, then you know it happened. That's how Mike Dunford knows that he had sex with a woman, I think. Oh God, it's because she was crying. No, that's rude. That's rude. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry. That just came out. I apologize profusely for that. Listen here, Dunphy. You have latched on. You have latched on to law Twitter. With a bunch of lawyers criticizing me for not practicing very much, which is fine. It doesn't bother me. I would much rather do this. This is more fun. This is funnier. This is educational, as much as you hate it, for other people. And I get to laugh along with a bunch of people every night. It's great. What better job is there? I don't know. But what I do know is you have latched on to other attorneys who have practiced significantly more than I have. And you're dangling from their testicles, right? Just hanging there like, me too, hashtag me too. I'm Mike. I'm a professional lawyer. Mike, you don't practice. You're licensed in Hawaii. pretty sure you've even said you don't practice at all. So let me give you a little bit of advice, because if you practice in criminal law, even for a little bit, you'll very quickly learn to discern when someone's lying. And you never trust a crying woman, Mike. Oh my God. Never in the practice of law do you trust a crying woman. You verify it, especially if it's your client, idiot. Listen, you might not like how I addressed Monica Rial. I'm not a big fan of what Monica's done to the anime community or to Vic Mignogna. I'm not a big fan of what Monica said about me. I'm sure she hates what I've said about her too. That's because she's fat and ugly. I don't care. I have no obligation to hold back my criticism of her fake crying. It's a play for sympathy. She couldn't even muster the acting chops of a high school drama coach to pull out a few tears for how devastated she was by this traumatic event that happened to her in the hotel room that she spent the next 12 years not mentioning, openly hugging her assaulter, hanging out with him at conventions, recording with him, being cast in several different shows, doing appearances, just all very professionally keeping up appearances. And yet, when she goes to tell the story, she breaks down in the most dramatic cry she can muster, which isn't effective. But, dear God, come on. You can't be that embarrassingly pitiful that you just I mean, correction. I've seen the picture. I've seen the sweater. Never mind. Disregard everything I say. I'm sure. Please. I hope to God no woman ever comes up to you and cries and says you owe her all of your money ever, because you'll just give it to her, I'm guessing. And then you'll ask her if she's okay and if you can carry her to the Uber that's on your credit card that she took also, or whatever it is. I don't know. But never just stay out of the practice of law, please. Like, I know you're an academic attorney and you like coach moot court without practicing and all that stuff. Stay out of the practice of it, because you're going to get steamrolled very quickly. And if you think that lawyers are not allowed to criticize, even in a juvenile way, the statements of someone who is obviously lying, if you took that option away, the vast majority of defense attorneys would be disbarred immediately, you dummy. So shut up. There you go. That's my bit on Dunford. The guy is, oh my God. What a grabber on. At least, Mike, the other guys have valid criticisms of me not practicing very much because they practice more. What's your excuse? All right. So, we're going to get into Vic's thing after I do the obligatory. We'll start off with the 10 chats real quick, and then we'll jump in. This one is from 13 hours ago. So this came in on Streamlabs. This is from Redacted. It says, I got my old man a bottle of Lagavulin 16 for his birthday and had my first glass. Wonderful. But it turns out it was my dad's favorite scotch, has been for years, and he's never offered me a glass. How do I forget him like Jesse Lee Peterson suggests? I don't know if I can. Don't ever forgive him for that. That deserves a cock punch. Just do it. Ron Soy's flaccid snack tray says, of course Ron wanted the lawsuit in the beginning. He loves watching other men bend Monica over. Thanks for fighting the good fight, Nick. Oh, thank you. I'm sure that'll get clipped. Because you can't make fun of women. You can't make fun of women. And you'll find this. You'll find these guys. Guys, you're lawyers. Of course you can make fun of women. You should make fun of everybody, because you're a lawyer and it's your job to make fun of everybody regardless of status. That's part of the attorney's oath. I will make fun of ugly broads and limp dudes. I will make fun of them all day. I remember taking that oath. I don't know if you guys have done that. But if you're an attorney, you have. So they'll back me up. Scream of Cthulhu says, Nick, Monica was drinking Belle Delphine's bathwater in order to absorb her youth and thoughtery. Also, Deo is pronounced Dow, like dowel, not Deo. Not sure if you were serious, but it offends my Asian ears. Well, Derek Padula, I don't think is very Asian, so that's why I'm going with Deo. No, I'm just kidding. It's Dao. I was also just drinking. Blaine20 says, what Monica said she was thinking during the incident with Vic were likely later regrets and guilt. She didn't report it because it wasn't forced, and she was complicit. Now she seeks revenge. Yeah, that was Mike's biggest problem. When she said, so I just went with it, I said, that kind of sounds like consent. And the reason it kind of sounds like consent is because were this reversed, and Monica was accusing Vic of sexually assaulting her, and she gave that testimony, you bet the defense attorney would be saying, so wait, you just went with it? Well, yeah, I did. I was very scared. Well, did you let him know that you weren't comfortable? No, I just went with it. Okay, so you're scared. You don't want this. You don't say no. You just go with it. Okay, that's what you're saying here? Yeah. So you don't ever at any point stop him. You don't resist. You don't protest. You don't try to get away to go to the bathroom, to do anything. You just go ahead and just go with it rather than literally anything else. Yeah, well, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Did you try going to the bathroom? Did you say, hey, let me just go freshen up? Did you do any of that? Well, no, I didn't. Okay. So you just went with it. Yeah. Well, that kind of sounds like consent. From the perspective of the person who's kissing you and you don't do anything to stop them, you just go with it. That's going to look like consent. Now, I don't know how else to interpret that from the eyes of the accused. And again, if you don't think that you bring that up as a defense attorney, or in this case, as the plaintiff's attorney, Your Honor, she said under oath, she just went with it. Or, well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this woman is trying to revisit a situation from 12 years ago in which she openly admits that she just went with it, put up no struggle, and offered no resistance or even a lack of willingness to participate at any time during this encounter. Never once did she indicate to the other person that she was not comfortable or not interested in going forward. And now, 12 years later, is going to come out, accuse that person of assaulting her, say that consent wasn't given, and demand that he be removed from his job and removed from conventions because she now doesn't feel safe, despite working alongside him for the next 12 years. What do you think about that? What in God's name are we talking about here? But this is how dummies like Dunford work. The synapse, they don't have synapses, right? They have synapses. I hate that soy is such an effective line of attack on these guys, but it makes them so mad that you just can't not use it, right? So the synapses in their brain just overload the second anyone dares to question this ridiculous account and say, how can you say that's consent? Well, because it's going to look like consent to the person doing it. Anyway, I'm rambling. Why am I rambling? Ryan Mercado says, to Mike in Law Twitter, I know you're watching this stream. Mike, go to the Hawaii bar, turn over your bar card, and never practice law ever again. I suggest Law Twitter do the same. You guys disgrace the legal profession. Thank you. Tim Hall, thank you for the donation. Intimidator0108 says, holy crap, you're on time for once. Going to bed soon, but I can't wait to see what you have in store for tonight's stream. Keep up the good work and keep fighting the good fight. Get wrecked, Ron, Monica, Jamie, and Mars Girl. Life of Soda says, first super chat. Hey, thank you. Been trying to catch up with everything, but this is the first time I can actually be here on time. Well, welcome to it. The Texan 83 says, Nick, why do you have to lie like that? You and I and everyone else know that Monica is the butch lesbian in that relationship. I said Toye was trying to appear as the butch lesbian in that relationship. Not that he was. Billy, there's also a theory. I shouldn't call it a prevailing theory. There's at least a minority theory. And there's a growing theory out there that Ron Toye is actually a post-op transgender. Well, I don't know post-op, but a woman presenting as a man, either pre or post-op, I don't know. And I'm not putting that out there as a joke. I'm not putting that out there as a joke. People are putting legitimate thought into this, analyzing hands and mannerisms, and suggesting that maybe Ron Toye is transgender. So please, I know there are members of the trans community in my audience. That is not supposed to be a joke or a slight. It is something that that might, involve some further research or discussion. I don't know. Very, very interesting theory. And even if Ron is not female to male trans, even if that's not a thing, the behavioral and structural analysis of who Ron Toye is, it's fascinating. If you want to read about it, just go. I don't know where all you can find the accounts, but definitely go check them out. Very interesting, people's analysis of Ron Toye. And then finally, Billy the Kid Lawrence says, I'm glad you enjoyed the parody video on Supergirl's channel, man. Heart, much love. Also, please explain what you meant to the dummies out there about the sounds like consent thing, since they don't get that she's a liar. Well, there you go. I just did. So we're on the same level. All right. Let's go. And I didn't say, by the way, it's not my theory on Ron. It's not my theory. I have always assumed that Ron was a born male. Absolutely. However, I'm just saying there are people out there saying this, and it's interesting to read up on it. Very, very interesting discussion happening out there. Hopefully, though, no one calls him a pedophile, because that'd be awful. But he wouldn't matter. Or it wouldn't matter to him, would it? Someone said quartering super chat. Did the quartering super chat something? You out there, buddy? Oh, there it is. Quartering says, I missed a call tonight. I assume it was you, Nick. Sorry, I'm ready to come on. No, I didn't actually have a call out to you, buddy, but we'll get you on sometime. Definitely. We've got some stuff to talk about. We do. I think it'll be great. Tonight's a little bit hard for me just because of the traveling thing and the lack of prep, but I will, I'll message you. Let's talk about it. One more thing before we get started, and this is very brief. I just want to let you know what's coming up later this week. I believe, as we'll finish these up on Wednesday, people have been asking for a summary of the case, a state of the case, so to speak. And I am working on lining up Percy Tyrone Beard to help me give a status report on where the case is, what's coming up, what's going on, because this stuff does get, pretty, you can get lost in these little avenues of what's there, and it's nice to have a broad overview. So we will hopefully have Ty himself on Thursday. I can't promise it at this point. I don't have it locked down, but I'm working on it. Also, I believe there's a hearing on Thursday, so we might get a real-time report of that. But okay, let's get going. So here is Vic Mignogna, part 3. Okay, Sam Johnson is Jamie Markey's attorney. So we're coming back from Jay Sean Lemoyne. We're going into Sam Johnson, and then we'll see some from John Volney as well. I don't know if Jay Sean comes back or not. We'll see. Oh, yep. It's muted. Hold on, let me fix that for you. Sorry, apologize. There we go.
And we're back on the record for the beginning of disc number 6. The time is 4:38.
Thank you, Mr. Mignogna. My name is Sam Johnson. We met this morning, but have you and I ever met or spoken before that interaction this morning that you can recall?
I know of.
Okay. And just so you know, I represent Jamie Markey in this matter, who's also a defendant in this case. So I know you've answered a lot of questions today, and I'm going to fill in some gaps that I have in my list, but a lot of what I had has already been addressed, so I'm going to do my best not to duplicate that. Same rules apply. Please allow me to finish my question before you answer. If you need a break, just let me know.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Wanted to take a few steps back and talk a little bit more about your work and about what you do. So I know we talked a little bit about how many productions you've been in, how long ago you started. From what I can tell, not all of your work is in anime. Is that correct?
The vast majority of it is, but not all of it, certainly.
Okay. Are there, other than the Star Trek Continued, is it continued?
Continues.
Continues. I apologize.
That was just a passion project.
Okay. Are there any other live action productions that you've been in?
A handful over the years.
Okay.
I've done some Christian films, and I've done some short films, and
Are there subgenres of anime that you appear in or your voice appears in more than others? I don't know the answer. I don't know if that's a thing. Just wanted
I would
to
say
ask.
no, sir.
Okay.
Again, when you're talking about 300 plus project series, you're talking about every conceivable style and genre.
Mm-hmm.
Scary, funny, shows for boys fighting, mecha shows, romance shows, scary. I mean, it covers the gambit.
Okay.
And often I don't even know what I'm going to do until I get in there. I don't even know a lot about what I'm doing until I get in there. They go, "You're this guy."
Okay. So you don't normally get the script
No.
very far in advance?
Never. No, you don't get it ever in advance.
Okay. I know you've got some social media presence. I wanted to walk through and see exactly which platforms you have an account on.
Okay.
I know you have a Twitter account. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a Facebook account?
Yes, sir.
On Facebook, let's strike that. Do you have an Instagram account?
No, sir. I downloaded the app because of all the cool things you can do, like put funny faces and hats and weird things, but I don't ever use it. I don't think I've ever posted on Instagram once.
How about?
Okay, real quick, a couple things. One, I'm stopping specifically because people hate it. And so I'll do that, fairly frequently throughout the video to comment on some things. Volney is taking, the more friendly approach. He hasn't, gone straight for personal stuff. So that's obvious. He's trying to get some facts out there. Now, what he's fishing for right now is public figure status. And probably he really wants to find out if Vic's been in any hentai. Or not Volney, Johnson. Sorry, Sam Johnson. He wants to find out, one, if Vic's been in any hentai, I'm guessing. That's what that subgenre question is. But he asked about Star Trek Continues briefly, and he's trying to get to the idea that Vic's a public figure. They want to make this case. They know it's hard for a voice actor to be a public figure, because if you never see the person, you never see them, how are they a public figure? If you can't associate a face with a name, or even with a character. With anime, people get attached to characters more than they do with the actor behind them, generally speaking, until you get to a certain level. Then you start to, I guess, switch over into caring more about the actors. So that's what they're going for. But of course, Vic goes on to say that he's been in Christian films, which makes you immediately less of a celebrity. It doesn't matter. You could be Sylvester Stallone, star in 2 Christian films, and no one will ever know who you are again. So that's going to weigh heavily in his favor.
Snapchat.
No, sir.
Any other social media platforms that you regularly use?
No, sir. And the only reason I've ever used them is because fans encouraged me to do them as a way to interact with fans.
Right. And your Twitter account, if I remember correctly, is verified. Is that right?
I think so. That means that they basically verify that you're you.
That's right.
I think it's true. There's a dot or something. Is that right?
There's a blue circle with a little white check mark inside next to your name.
I believe you.
Do you remember what you did to get that account verified?
No.
Okay.
Do
you know if you did anything?
I don't remember doing anything. In fact, when somebody said something about being verified, I literally said, "How does that work? Like, how do you do that?"
Do you use a publicity firm that might have done that for you?
No.
Do you use a publicity firm at all?
No.
So you do all of your publicity, your social media posting, your statements, all
Yes,
that.
sir.
Let me
Sorry,
finish, please. All those things, you generate those yourself?
Yes, sir. Or I have. Over the years, I have. This incident has been the first time that I have ever sought the services of someone to help.
Okay, so with regard to the statements and occurrences that are discussed in this lawsuit, you have been receiving some publicity help?
The couple that I mentioned in particular.
All right.
Attorney interaction, of course.
Any PR firms?
No, sir.
Okay.
The couple in Florida considers themselves kind of a PR couple firm, but I don't know if they actually have a name, you know what I mean? I don't know if they're an official thing.
Right.
But
I think I understand.
So again, very briefly, working on that public figure status, and it's kind of funny because they would expect him to have some sort of publicist. They would expect him to have some sort of social media manager to achieve the success. They expected him to participate in his verification on Twitter, and none of that happened. And so the verification on Twitter, what did you have to do for that? Did you actively seek it? Are you trying to push yourself into the public? That's part of that limited purpose public figure status, is that if you thrust yourself into the into the stream of public discourse, Twitter will sometimes verify you just because you're you, and they don't, or because someone makes fake stuff. It doesn't mean you're thrusting yourself into it, and that's a very interesting tack, because there's an argument out there, and I think I've purported this argument as possible. I don't know if it would work, but that a verified Twitter account would automatically mean public figure status, or at least as related to what got you verified. But it's hard to say when you don't actually seek out verification anymore. Can you be a limited purpose public figure? Can you use that Twitter verification for that if you don't do anything to acquire it? So very interesting.
And you are the voice, is it Brawley or Broly?
Everybody says something different. I've always thought it was Broly.
Okay.
But some people say Brawley, so.
And I understand that film, Dragon Ball Brawly, was the third highest grossing anime film in the United States. Does that sound right to you? Were you pretty pleased with that success level?
It was, it was a privilege. I was really proud to be a part of it. I mean, I played this character for 15 years, and he would be in video games and stuff, and when I would do events, fans would always say, "Oh, I love Broly's my favorite character in Dragon Ball. When are they ever going to do anything more with him?" And I would always say, "I don't know. Wouldn't that be fun?" And then when this movie was announced, you know, I was really excited about it.
That's a big deal, you know, third highest grossing. And I assume that brings with it a pretty significant fan base.
I already had, I think they already existed.
Okay.
I think. I don't do any analytics or count this or that, but I think my overall body of work over the years has been pretty well received.
Okay.
Notice the difference, and this isn't a criticism either way, but Vic is not dwelling in the tears and sobs. Like, he choked up. I don't know. It comes across, I don't know how it'll play, to be fair. I don't know how it'll play. I think it comes across a little bit more genuine just because he chokes it down and moves on. He doesn't sit there in it. He doesn't wallow in the tears. He doesn't like sit there and try and conjure up a bunch more sadness. You know, it like struck him a little bit, and then he moved into it. He moved on past it. So we'll see. We'll see. That's one. I would argue that he should avoid those emotional breaks in this, but you know, maybe he's trying. Don't know.
Yeah, your IMDb page says that you've been in over 356 productions. Does that sound?
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I said over 300, and I didn't even know. I don't keep track. After a while, you just do them.
Do you ever have that situation where people, if you're at the airport or Starbucks or whatever, do fans recognize you out in
No.
public?
No, and I think that's one of the interesting things about voice acting. You're not recognized.
How about when you're at the conventions?
Well, I mean, there, yes, because people come there specifically to celebrate anime.
Okay.
And because of the internet, you can look up, people's faces and stuff and find out who somebody is who played this character or that.
What is Rizambul?
Rizambul was the town that my character and his brother came from in Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
So it was literally just
Your fans?
It was, yeah. The two women started the Rizambul Rangers. I didn't start a fan club. I didn't ask anybody to start a fan club. A couple of fans contacted me and said, "We want to start a fan club for you." I'm like, "Really? Okay." How fun, right? And they came up with the name based on the anime.
Okay. So it was based off of your prior work?
Yes, one of the characters that I played.
I do want to switch and talk about Jamie Markey, my client, at this point. How long have you known Jamie?
As long as she's been working at Funimation. I honestly can't tell you an amount of years. It's one of those things you don't really think about because you don't think you need to ever really know. But it's been as long as she's, if I had to guess, maybe 10 or 12 years maybe.
And so did you meet her working at Funimation?
Yes, sir.
And were y'all working on a production together, or?
We worked on several productions.
Is that how you first met?
Actually, it's an interesting dynamic because voice actors typically record alone, which means you and I and him and her could all be in a show together and never even meet each other because we would come in separately and record our lines. But you might cross paths in the hallway, or you might see each other in the lobby. And many times you also would do a convention, and other voice actors would be there. I've actually met voice actors for the first time who I'd been in 8 or 10 shows with, and I'd never met them. But I met them at a convention because we were both invited there. And that's honestly how, more times than not, you actually talk to them more and, get to know them a little more there.
So did you ever, I know you said you've done some live action productions. Was Jamie in any of those with you that you can recall?
Not that I can recall, no.
Okay, but y'all did interact at conventions?
Sure.
Okay. I do want to go ahead. What exhibit number are we on? 22.
You guys, did you mark something?
No, we didn't mark anything. There's the bill.
How about 22?
Thank you. Yes, please. Thank you. All right. I'm going to hand you what I've marked as Exhibit 22. And I'll represent to you that this is a cease and desist letter that was sent by your attorney to Ms. Markey. Have you seen this letter before?
No, sir. I was informed that it was sent, but I've not seen it personally.
Okay. Just want to walk through this letter. If you'll look with me in the first full paragraph, it says that the demand was relating to posts and tweets using the personal social media account, including @RonToy. Since this is sent to Ms. Markey, I'm assuming that's a typo. Do you have any reason to disagree with that?
Can I read that real quick?
Please.
This is specifically related to location. I don't know. I don't know what that is relating to.
Okay.
Can I consult my? Is it a typo?
I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something that I
No, I
wasn't
don't-
aware
I-
of.
no,
This is the
lawyers
first
are
time I'm
humans
seeing it
too.
We have typos, so it happens. I want to walk through with you the statements that your cease and desist letter addressed by Ms. Markey. And the first one I want to look at is February 6th, 2019 at 9:05 p.m. And there are some
Hold on.
quotes in the letter, but
What was that?
February 6th, 2019 at
February
9:05.
Okay, so here's some deep lore for you guys. Vic had actually retained another attorney prior to hiring Ty. That attorney did send out apparently some cease and desist letters. So that's what this is referring to. This would have been his former counsel, I believe. Especially because this is February 6th. Right? Did I hear that right?
By Ms. Markey. And the first one I want to look at is February 6th, 2019 at 9:05 p.m.
Oh, wait, no. That's a letter from Ty. Sorry. That's a letter from Ty because I saw the Beard and Harris logo on it, and they're referencing a tweet in the letter from February 6th. My apologies.
And there are some quotes in the letter, but if you'll turn back to the fifth page, there's an image of the actual tweet. And I want to give you a minute to look at it.
Okay.
All right. Is your name mentioned anywhere in this tweet?
No, sir.
Okay. What in here is there to let you know that it references you?
Well, who is she responding to? Do we have the previous tweet? Clearly, she's responding to someone, right?
Object non-responsive. I'm just asking, based on what you can see on the page, is there anything that would let someone know that it's actually referencing you?
Objection, cuck objection. That's not how Twitter works. It's a response to someone. So he needs the context to know who he's replying to or who's being replied to there. And I'm guessing it's him. Does anybody have that tweet?
On this page alone?
Correct.
No, I don't see any. I do not see my name here.
Okay. What are the statements of fact? If we assume that this is about you, what are the factual statements that are made about you in this tweet? Something that could independently be verified by someone. If you read through it.
Well, this tweet alone, nothing.
Okay.
But she tweeted before this. When she initially tweeted her account of something.
Object non-responsive. We'll get to her other tweets.
Okay.
I'm only asking about this one. So
Listen, I want you to say that if we put this tweet up in front of someone who wasn't looking, would never know who you were, doesn't know your name, doesn't know the situation, isn't reading Twitter, we just literally take these words and put them on a page, would you have been defamed by them? I want you to say no to being defamed. Please just do that for me because that'll make it better for me. So, good job. Good job, Sam Johnson.
No, there's nothing in here except a lot of anger that I can see.
object
I'm
non-responsive.
sorry, what was your question?
The question is just, what in this particular tweet on February 6th is a statement of fact about you?
Nothing.
Okay. And then in your letter, sorry to make you flip back and forth.
Sure.
But in the paragraph that goes from the first page to the second page that your lawyer wrote, it says that this tweet implies that you committed some type of criminal offense. Do you see anything in this particular tweet that gives that impression that a criminal offense was committed?
No, sir, but you have to take the context of the entire thing.
Object non-responsive after,
I said no, sir. I'm sorry. That was my response. Sorry.
You're fine. That's my job to clean it up.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's all my questions about that tweet. I'm going to skip ahead from the order that they're addressed in the letter to the next one chronologically, which was on February 7th, 2019. And that is on the last, page 11.
Okay.
Do you see that tweet? It says, "What would Jesus do?"
Page 11? Oh, goodness.
Yeah, the 11th.
I looked down here and I saw 1/1 and thought it was 11.
No problem.
So sorry. 8. Am I blind? 7. Page 8 is the last page I have.
It's the one before that. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Give yourself a moment to read that.
Okay.
And my questions might sound familiar to you. The first one is your name stated in this tweet?
No, sir.
Is there any direct reference to you that you can see?
No, sir.
If we assume that this tweet was about you, what is the statement of fact about you in here?
No statement of fact about me in this tweet.
Thank you. I want to go to the last page in this, and there's no date here, but there's another. It's a little harder to tell. I can't tell. I think it's a tweet also. But there's one that's attributed to Ms. Markey. Do you see that on this page as well?
Here.
The third one down.
Yes.
Yes. Give yourself a moment to read that.
Okay.
All right. What is the statement of fact about you in this particular tweet as you read it?
The only thing that I can see is where she says, fighting back does not in any way, shape, or form make me as bad as Vic. I would say that tends to create a statement of fact that I'm a bad person.
Is that the only statement of fact that you see in there?
Yes, sir.
Do you see anything in that tweet that implies, as you read it, that you are a bad person akin to a criminal, or that there's any reference to criminal activity in this tweet?
Not in this tweet, no.
Thank you. All right. And then the last one that I want to talk about is the one, it's on February 8th. And it's I think might be the one you had in mind a few moments ago, the one that I'm going to refer to as Ms. Markey's statement.
Okay.
So if I use that term, this is what I'm referring to.
Yes, sir.
Counsel,
Okay.
real quick, we're going to be here tomorrow. Jury didn't come to a decision, so we're in here tomorrow morning.
Okay. Thanks. So, and I want to. Have you seen this tweet before? It's pretty lengthy. Do you recall having read it before today?
I'm pretty sure I read it. Somebody called me, a friend, and said, Jamie Markey just tweeted. And I'm like, Jamie? What about? And then I read it, or somebody like screen capped it and sent it to me.
Okay. I actually want to walk back to the second page of this exhibit, the actual letter that your attorney wrote for you. If you'll go to the second page, because there are a few statements that they point out that I just want to work through with you.
Okay.
Okay, real quick. So, about the statements that Vic is being asked to address. First of all, it's all very interesting. What statement of fact about you is there? I don't know. Vic isn't a lawyer. Many people do not know the difference between a statement of an opinion, a statement of fact, a hyperbolic statement, any of that. That's actually, those statements are matters of law, not matters of fact. Those are not fact questions for a jury to decide. That'll be decided by a judge and legal arguments supporting them. So you don't get to just say, well, and like, for example, if you ask a normal person, hey, Tom, is the statement Tom raped Justine a statement of fact? Tom might say, no, dear God, I've never raped anybody. So that's not a statement of fact. Okay. But is the statement Tom raped Justine a statement of fact? Well, yes, it is. It's a fact that's discernible, true or false. Someone can come in and do that. They can determine whether or not that happened. In an ideal world, they may not be able to specifically determine whether, but with omniscience, you could determine if that actually happened. Okay, so Vic's opinion on what is or is not a statement of fact is not the crucial question of what is a statement of fact. So let's be very clear on that. So are these answers to out of context tweets sinking him? No. First of all, publications like Twitter, which often have threads, multiple comments, like Funimation's tweets and stuff like that, those are taken as whole publications. So the interesting thing is Jamie's fact statements, I believe, are largely going to revolve around that statement that she made about him pulling her hair and all of that crap. So the question will be, is this a factual statement? And then the other aspects of the tweets, they're going to try and determine if, I'm guessing, they would try and lump those tweets in as part of the publication or part of the overall sentiment. And do these things lead more or less towards a defamatory conclusion for Vic? So it's, even if you don't have factual statements, you can have non-factual statements that give credence or I guess sway towards how people are supposed to read the factual elements of a given statement, if that makes sense to you. So Vic not recognizing specific factual statements isn't really that big of a deal. I mean, John wants it for ammunition. I keep saying John. Sam Johnson, John Volney. Sam Johnson, he wants that. Of course, you definitely want to have on the record the other party saying, no, these aren't statements of fact at all. But the reality is he's not a lawyer. And actually, these statements might be able to be excluded. Why isn't Ty objecting to form? Because he won't really need to, and it could increase apprehension with your client if you're objecting to form to try and signal to them that these statements are dangerous. Some people do that as a strategy anyway, but you don't have to do that. And Vic has been doing very well in this deposition, starting to throw in a bunch of objections now might break up the flow. It might get him out of the zone that he's been in. So I hope that helps. Here we go.
They point out the statement that that's made that you, quote, gave almost all the women at my job the creeps, unquote. Do you see that in there?
I do.
Okay. And then there's the statement that at the time of the incident, Ms. Markey's writing about that you whispered something sexual in nature to her.
Correct.
All right. Do you have any evidence that you're aware of that Ms. Markey did not actually believe these statements to be true at the time she wrote them?
What an embarrassing question. Do you have any evidence to prove that this didn't happen? How do you prove that you didn't say something sexual into her ear? I want to see this.
At the time she wrote them or at the time they happened?
At the time she wrote them.
I can't answer for her. I don't know what's in her mind. I can't say whether she believed it was true or whether she was joining in to pile on. I don't know.
Are you, and I know you're not an attorney, sir, but are you aware of anything in the Texas Penal Code that is defined as being simple assault?
No, sir.
You're not aware of any crime or statute that's referred to that?
I mean, I've heard the term. I don't know the definition or the details of it.
Okay, so sitting here today, you don't know if that's actually a crime under Texas law?
Well, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's a crime.
I don't either. That's why I was asking.
Wait, what? That was weird, right? I don't either. That's why I was asking. Wait a minute. First of all, simple assault. Let me just help you out, Sam. Simple assault is likely not codified in the Texas Penal Code. Simple assault is a common law tort. Which would be the use of something, some sort of tactic, method, words, actions, without physical contact to intimidate and instill fear in someone else. That would be the rough elements of simple assault. It is a crime of intent. It would be, or a tort of intent. So you would have to intend to instill fear, or you would have to intend that a reasonable person would be afraid of whatever you were doing. That's simple assault. So, for example, simple assault might be saying, I'm going to kick the living hell out of you, and balling up your fist and looking at someone in the eyes, right? Like that could be simple assault. The idea is that a reasonable person might expect that they're about to be in danger because of what you said. So I don't know why Sam Johnson is doing this. Like, is it in the Texas Penal Code, simple assault? I don't know what that weird plan was, but simple assault is not necessarily a statutory provision. It's not required to be. It's a common law provision in all 50 states. Because it's common law, right? So it's that just means that it's just built out of case law. Very weird. Let me read a couple chats here. Sven Sorensen says, Ron the sheepdog he protect, but he also a cuck. Waffles says, the pseudo-degenerate furry really does appreciate the amazing work you've done and the dozens of hours of entertainment you've given us. Thanks for helping stop this injustice. Here's a little something for being you. Hey, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Jitney Huggins says, Ron Toye body by cake. Indie Visualist says, we seem focused on Ron and Monica. If they / Funny want to win the case, however, won't it be based on the believability of the twins, especially as the courts will protect them from public scrutiny? The courts will not protect those twins from public scrutiny. How much of the twins will we see? It depends on how much they want to use their testimony. Lord Time Lord says, Monica was drinking a lot of water on purpose so she'd get more restroom breaks to talk to her lawyers in between questions. She didn't do that very well, though. Corey Galbraith says, never trust a woman who can tell you something when crying. If she's truly devastated, she'll not be able to explain anything until she's done crying. A man who grew up around 6 older sisters and their friends. Actually, Tina says, Mike not realizing what that was obvious fake crying means he's a shit lawyer. I've been in court more than him, mainly observing the forensic witnesses, and people fake cry a lot. She was extremely bad at it too. I agree, actually, Tina. I agree 100% with every single word in that sentence, or those sentences. Dark Lemon says, chat, who has the ugliest personality? Press 1 for Ron Soye and 2 for Monica Rial. Automata says, I'd be real curious on the follow-up on what exactly Monica's safety concerns were. Notice the question about Sabat paying. Any chance they're delaying any lawyer payments until after depots to avoid questions in general? No, they're just probably broke. I like the Spike Man. Where did that one go? It just jumped just a second. I'm getting there. Okay. I like the Spike Man says, imagine drinking Gamer Girl bathwater and not 100% fresh Gamer Girl urine. Filthy casuals. I agree. Always go with the actual fluids, apparently. Okay, back to it.
Do you know, are there any crimes in the Texas Penal Code that legally classify a convicted defendant as a predator? Are you aware of any of that?
I don't know.
That's a bogus line of questioning there. People often refer to sexual predators, registered sex offenders, as predators, but even it doesn't matter because you don't have to have an actual crime for per se defamation. This is what he's attacking here. Okay, so you have defamatory tweets or you have defamatory statements, right? Which are false statements of fact given to a third party about someone intending to cause harm and actually causing that harm. Okay, roughly defamation. Defamation per se is a statement, same sort of criteria, but there's a specific subset of facts where the damages that they cause are presumed, like calling someone a child rapist, for example, and meaning it in a factual way rather than an insult, saying, you know what, actually, that guy, I looked into it, he's raped 4 children. That's a statement of fact. It's a criminal act for one thing, but it's also a severe, it's a deviant sexual activity. Not even deviant. I'm trying to think of the exact definition, but basically I'm going to say crime, but I don't literally mean a criminal act, a crime of a sexual nature, for example, or, accusing someone literally of having HIV, for example, or AIDS. You say, you know what, so-and-so has AIDS, and you mean it, and you're trying to convince someone else that that person literally has AIDS, a sexually related or other type of disease, a vile disease, could actually be the statement of per se defamation. I think that one's falling out of favor as we move out of 1830, but you got to remember how long defamation law has been around, and the idea of accusing someone of having like a sexually transmitted disease when they didn't, even 100 years ago, could have put them as outcasts in the community. It could really damage their reputation. Now, since pretty much every college student has herpes, what damage does it do to say they have herpes, right? And plus, everybody's drinking Belle Delphine's herpes now, so it doesn't matter as much. But this is what he's trying to eliminate. He's trying to eliminate this by saying, well, it's not an actual crime, though, to be a predator, even though what it means is that you predate on people in a sexual manner, and it's horrifically damaging. It would still could be per se defamation.
Would you agree with the statement that the way one person perceives a situation is not always going to be the same way everybody perceives that same situation?
Of course.
So is it possible that Miss Markey perceived pain when you pulled her hair in the lobby that day, and that you were unaware of that?
Please, dear God, say I didn't pull her hair in the lobby that day.
And the reason I ask is you testified earlier.
I had no indication when it happened or in the years that followed that we've been friends and interacted that there was anything offensive or painful about it. In my mind, my recollection, it was very casual, playful interaction, as happens all the time in the hallways of Funimation.
But you would agree that she certainly could have perceived it differently than you.
Sure.
Is it your testimony today that you did not say something sexual into Miss Markey's ear at that moment that you were grabbing her hair?
Sorry.
You're good.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Okay. Do you recall if you said anything into her ear?
I don't recall that I said anything. If I did, it was literally something about, oh, I love your hair, or love it, it's awesome. It was that kind of thing.
Okay. Other than the statements that we've discussed today, are there any other statements by Ms. Markey about you that are statements of fact that you allege to be defamatory in nature that you're aware of?
present that I'm aware of, no.
I'm gonna.
What's the number of this? Is it
This was Exhibit 22.
Now, to clarify, I'm trying to figure out where this happened. Did I skip? You know what? I'm the worst. I've boomered this harder than it could be boomered. I've boomered this harder than it could be boomered. This is the last portion of the video. I skipped 2 hours of video. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to remedy this. Because I'm like, where did we establish that he grabbed her hair in the first place? Where did that happen? Let's see. So I grabbed the wrong video for today. I am so sorry. What a pain in the ass that is. Okay, we've got to, yeah, we're just, let me think here. Because this doesn't make any sense. I'm sitting here thinking, why did we get to Sam? Where's Lemoyne? Where's Lemoyne? Or it didn't make sense. But then when he said that he pulled her hair, I'm like, how did we get here? And I grabbed the wrong one. I know. I had one job. Let's go back. Let me let him finish this question, and then we'll go back. And then, okay, yeah, because then we'll be about 30 minutes in, and we'll just do the previous. We'll go back to it. Weird.
I know you've talked today about defendants having reached out to conventions and encouraging them to end their relationship with you or cancel a contract. Sitting here today, are you aware of any conventions that Jamie reached out to for that purpose?
I'm going to answer, and you're going to say non-responsive.
Objection, non-responsive.
Stay there. We just saved ourselves 6 or 7 seconds. I have been told by several convention organizers who had booked me to be at their show that they were not inclined to cancel me until voice actors started coming out, because they weren't going to give a lot of credence to just a bunch of people on the internet, you know. Mm-hmm. But when the voice actors came out, and we all know who the voice actors were that came out, so I mean, it's kind of an assumption. They didn't call me and say Jamie Lynn Markey and Monica Rial, you know what I mean, contacted us, but they did tell me that it was the public comments by the voice actors that led them to ultimately cancel me.
So it was the public comments, not necessarily a direct contact by a particular voice actor to the convention.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if there was any direct contact or not.
So sitting here today, you don't know of any conventions that Jamie directly reached out to, correct?
Not yet, no, not at present.
And then I think it was Miss Denbo at Funimation that you were communicating.
Okay, we're gonna go back to the correct spot. That was super boomer moment there. I apologize. I was checking. I realized what happened. I'll tell you. Before I started the show, I was checking the length of time on each video, and then I left up the other one and didn't go back and switch back. So I apologize profusely. Let's go back to where we left off from the other one. Spoilers. You've gotten a peek at the season. So we're gonna go back to this. Here we go.
And we are back on the record for the beginning of disc number 4. The time is 2:34.
Mr. Mignogna, if you would turn to
Oh, there it is. If you would turn to exhibit, if you would turn to losing the case, please. All right. Sorry.
Exhibit 3 in the binder,
Yes, sir.
I will represent to you, this is a printout from the Facebook page of a woman named Jessie Pridemore. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Miss Pridemore?
I've heard her name.
Are you aware that Ms. Pridemore made some allegations against you? What is your understanding of what those allegations were?
I think she claims that I propositioned her at an event in, I don't even know, 8-9 years ago.
All right. Did you ever tell anyone that Mrs. Pridemore was a con slut?
No.
Do you know what a con?
I don't know
is?
her.
Do you know what a con slut?
Sorry. You ever tell anybody that Mrs. Pridemore was a con slut? Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay. I apologize. Let me.
All right. Did you ever tell anyone that Mrs. Pridemore was a con slut?
No.
Do you know what a con?
I don't know
is?
her.
Do you know what a con slut is?
Well, I can only assume, based on the word itself.
You've heard the word before, correct?
Well, I understand what the term slut means, and con, assumably, would be somebody at a con convention.
Right. But have you ever heard that word before, or are you just breaking it down because it's the first time
No, I
you've
have
heard
not,
it?
actually.
Never heard it before.
No, sir.
Okay.
This just in. Jay Sean Lemoyne teaches naive, beautiful voice actor what a con slut is. Apparently, Jay Sean is slanging the derogatory female terms left and right.
And so, if Ms. Pridemore says that you slid your hands up in her hair and tugged her head back and said something to you, you don't remember anything like that?
No.
And don't know who Ms. Pridemore is?
No. I mean, I know the name. And I think when you asked me about her before, I think I said that I understand that she does a lot. She shows up at a lot of events, but I don't know her personally.
Do you have a penchant for pulling the hair of female guests at conventions?
No.
You don't put your hand up, slide your hand up on there and pull their hair and pull their neck back?
No.
No idea where people might get that idea?
Well, there's a difference between doing something on a regular basis and no idea where somebody would get that.
All right, have you ever done that? You ever at a convention in front of people reached your hand up behind a woman's hair and pulled her hair, her neck head back?
No.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
Okay. If you would turn to Exhibit 4. Are you familiar with a magazine called, or online group called the Anime News Network?
Yes, sir.
Is that a fairly influential publication in the anime world?
I don't know.
Have you been mentioned in it before in a positive manner?
I don't even know, actually. I
Have you ever read it? Have you ever read it before?
No, sir.
All right. Were you aware that on January 30th, 2019, there was an article printed in the Anime News Network online titled "Far from Perfect, Fans Recount Unwanted Attention from Voice Actor Vic Mignogna"?
Yes, sir.
Did you read it when it came out?
I don't know if I did in its entirety now.
Do you know the author, Lindsay Loveridge?
No.
Are there
Real quick, for those of you calling the Fuhrer, Jay Sean Lemoyne, an old man, he's 10 years younger than Vic. He's 10 years younger. He was ravaged by the proboscis of mosquito, and now he's like this. So
things contained in Exhibit 4 that you consider to be defamatory?
Yes.
You would agree with me that the statements made in the Anime News Network article about you have damaged your reputation?
Yes.
Do you associate anything that any of the defendants in this lawsuit have done with the publication of this article?
I don't know. They could have. I don't have any knowledge either way.
If you would look on page 1 of Exhibit 4, third full paragraph, that, about the middle of the page, it says, the thread quickly spread with over 4,000 retweets at the time of this writing and over 400 comments, many relaying their own negative experiences, including unwanted and unsolicited physical interaction from the Full Alchemist voice actor. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you are the Full Alchemist voice actor?
I suppose so.
All right, and you'd agree with me this article is written about you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you disagree with that? Or sorry, strike that. Do you agree with me that that particular thread accusing you of things on January 16th spread like wildfire?
I assume so.
Do you attribute anything that any of the defendants did to it spreading like wildfire?
I can't answer that. Possibly. I don't know.
Okay. Would you agree with me that kissing 14-year-old girls on the face, whether it's consensual or not, is really not appropriate for a 40 or 50-year-old man?
Form.
Sorry, look at the smirk. If you can't read that face as "you're a real piece of shit, Lemoyne," then I don't know how you read it. They've already asked this. And so now he's going back to it. So that's lovely.
I would say a lot depends on context.
Okay. What is the context in which a 40 or 50-year-old man kissing a 14-year-old girl is appropriate?
Well, if it is requested, if in the past, this is the way I felt about it. I apologized for this, by the way. I apologized for not really considering, that while there may be 500 people who appreciate that kind of kindness, there may be a few that don't. When they're visibly emotional or upset, and you're wanting to be comforting and kind to them, all of these things happened in full public view of many people standing around, shooting videos, taking pictures. It wasn't sexual in any way. It wasn't private or sadistic or weird in any way. It was literally meant as an act of kindness.
Right, so if you turn to page 3 of Exhibit 4.
Do we have this? Did I boomer this even harder?
Page 3, look at the bottom. Are you with me?
This must be
This is
three.
video
Yeah, 3.
4.
Uh-huh.
So, top photo, that's a picture of you kissing.
Did we do this video? How bad am I at this? All right, I'm gonna ask the chat. Have we done this? Because I feel like we've had these questions, but this is the 4th video. But I don't remember the Jesse Pridemore thing from before. Do you guys? I don't remember the Pridemore thing at all. Go to the end of the video. Okay, we're at 7:09. Let's go to the end of the video and see what happens here. Hold on.
While you're looking, 2-minute break.
Sure.
And we're going off the record at 3:27.
3:27. Here, let me quickly check part 2. I think part 2 ended at 2 something. I can actually just find this real quick. So give me a moment. This feels, because the Pridemore stuff felt very new. I'm just going to check the end of part 2. It'll take me just a second. Well, here we go.
Okay, so this is a kind of a first-time event, right?
This is a unique event.
Let's go off record.
And we're going off the record at 2:21.
Okay, this is new. I just checked. Period. It's new. Okay, sorry. They just went back and cycled back on some of the questions. So my confidence is shattered. So we'll get back to it. Let me do 5 chats real quick. Nicholas Smith says, "Le moi, and you were disappointed you didn't have sex with those twins?" Mignogna, what part of twins didn't you hear? Eric Ford says, "The theory about Soye makes sense when you think about that Monica is used to putting words into the mouth of best girls." Oh, come on. Spunt says, "If you get deposed, will you put the video up on your channel?" Oh, you bet I will. Ike13D says, "Can we get this lawyer to say Burger King foot lettuce? I just need to hear him say it." Me? Burger King foot lettuce? Jester Fire says, "Object is non-responsive equals you're making me look bad, so let's try that again." Octorian says, "What would Jesus do? Gotta remember, Jesus beat the crap out of a bunch of dudes for making money off the church, so..." Ghost Coin says, "First time catching the live show, up late at work patching servers. Thank you for keeping a light on this situation and providing insight into a situation that is unfair to a good man. Cheers to fighting the good fight." And then, where did we go? Here we go. Gulf City Cult of Krill says, "Do lawyers, prosecutors, or defense go out of their way to avoid engineers or other field experts on purpose? I know at least 5 other colleagues that were dismissed on site." Yes. Yes, they do. They don't like people who are good at facts and math. The Texan 83 says, "Wait, why do Markey and Funimation lawyers get to depose Vic? Don't they have to notify a request of it first for this kind of thing?" No, they all get to participate in the deposition. All right, there we go. And the others can either participate or they can reserve their time for a later. They don't have to. They can reserve for later. All right, let's get back to it. We're at 7 minutes and 6 seconds. Here we go.
You kissing a woman, perhaps a girl, in 2014. That would have been fairly regular for you to kiss women on the side of the face like that?
No, actually, it wasn't regular at all.
That was irregular.
Yes.
You don't remember this photo, do you?
No.
Okay. So how do you know it's irregular?
Because I know how often I do it, and it doesn't happen very often.
And when you say very often, you're talking about it happens less than 50 times
I
a
don't
conviction?
count, sir. I'm sorry.
So then how do you know it's not often if you don't count?
Because if it happened often, I would know that it was pretty often.
You would agree with me that it was happening often enough that people were commenting on it and online for years, weren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree that people were commenting on it, certainly.
And even though people commented on it in a negative light, you continued to do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, who cares? Well, some people commented on
Do you
it,
ever
so...
give your phone number out to girls under the age of 15, 16?
No, sir. Not that I recall at all.
Be no reason to do that, right?
No, sir.
You ever give out your email to girls under the ages of 15,
My email is
16?
very public, sir.
Right.
I receive lots of emails from fans.
Right. Do you correspond privately with women under the age of 16?
I have no idea.
Define correspond.
But email them, talk to them.
Fan letters?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, I'll write back and say, thanks so much. I'm so glad you're enjoying my work. I'll look forward to meeting you someday at a convention.
And is that pretty much a standard response?
Yes, sir. Very standard.
All right. And then this chat, is there some kind of private chat room where you can chat with your fans?
Sorry?
Is there some kind of private chat room that you use to chat with your Risen Bull Rangers?
Well, the Rangers fan club has a chat room. There's nothing private about it. Anybody can join it. And I don't go in there more than once or twice a year, actually, just to say hello. And, you know, I mean, when people form a fan club for you, you want to let them know you appreciate that and say hello occasionally.
Right. Who runs the Risen Bull Rangers? There's somebody that runs the website.
Well,
keeps it up?
there is a woman who runs the website, and there are
I think I
several,
know
as
the
I mentioned
problem.
earlier, moderators who.
I know the problem. I found it out. Watch this. They go to break. They don't go to break. What the? Why does this sound so familiar? But it's not. We have not watched this. Hold on.
And you declined.
Yes, sir.
And why did you decline? Can you confirm or deny that you've ever been blacklisted from?
Hold on. I went too far. I'm sorry.
And there are several, as I mentioned earlier. People form a fan club for you. You want to let them know you appreciate that and say hello occasionally.
Who runs the Reasonable Rangers? There's somebody that runs the website.
Well,
Keeps it up.
there is a woman who runs the website, and
you guys,
there
in the
are
best
several, as I
way.
mentioned earlier, moderators who just kind of, moderate chat rooms and kind of administrate things. It's pretty loose.
Does your mom have any role in dealing with this Reasonable Rangers website?
To some degree. I don't know exactly to what degree.
Does she have a nickname that's associated with that?
I believe she likes to be called the matriarch.
Would you agree with the proposition that at least 40% of the people in Reasonable Rangers are underage?
No, sir,
And why do you disagree with that?
because I have no idea.
So it could be more.
Or
than
less.
40, or less. Is there any kind of age entry that a person has to put when they get into, when they become a Reasonable Ranger or sign
No,
up?
sir. It's a fan club. People who are fans of something join voluntarily.
If you turn to page 6 of Exhibit 4, second full paragraph where it starts with Mignogna.
Yes, sir.
I want to skip down 1, 2, 3, 5 sentences. It says, while researching this article, I kept learning of more conventions that supposedly blacklisted Mignogna from ever returning, yet any attempts to reach out to longtime staff for each event were met with silence. You know anything? Can you confirm or deny that you've ever been blacklisted from a convention?
No, sir.
Now, would you agree with me that you were given the opportunity to comment for this particular article written by Enemy News Network,
Yes, sir.
and you declined?
Yes, sir.
And why did you decline?
Because it seemed to me very clear that they were not interested in, in just relaying truthful information. It seemed like they were more interested in getting clicks and promoting rumor.
Did you talk to anybody about what the article was going to be about? Did they tell you or send you an email?
A reasonable person could assume what the article was going to be about, considering that they wrote it in the midst of this social media upheaval.
Okay.
And I was right. It was about exactly what I thought it would be about.
And you'd agree with me that this particular article was very damaging to your reputation.
It was damaging.
I mean, and after this article came out, you started losing invitations to conventions, didn't you?
Not a few, but not,
A few.
a few, but not a lot.
What would a lot be?
Well, what I mean to say is that my recollection is that I started losing more events after Funimation and Rooster Teeth terminated me, and after Jamie and Monica came out and started posting publicly.
Well, how many conventions did you lose? Do you know? If you don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember. offhand.
Were Jamie and Monica, if this article's written on January 30th, 2019, were Jamie and Monica, were they posting prior to this time? Or do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, let me address something, Chad. You got me. I no longer have any idea if we've ever seen this, but the show will carry on as if we have not, even though, God, it seems familiar, but I just checked, and this is not, I mean, the other stream ended prior to this one ending, like, so this is the next chronological one. I don't know why. Some of you are saying it's because I read the transcript. Some of you are telling me to read the transcript. Others are telling me to read my suicide note or whatever, and we're just gonna roll through because I don't know. Why is he asking these questions? What Jay Sean is trying to do is he's trying to establish that someone else is responsible for Vic losing this. He's trying to take away the damages aspect from his clients. And so that's not really an affirmative defense. I mean, they can make the argument that they didn't cause the damages. They're gonna go through that. This is not actually an affirmative defense that they're going to be able to try and run in the TCPA. Unless Vic says, well, the A&N article did all of the damage, which he hasn't. The damages are a fact question. Those need to be resolved by a jury or a judge. If the judge is a fact finder, if you have a bench trial. But typically they're going to be resolved by a jury. So you're not going to get damages unless the judge decides as a matter of law that the statements could not have caused damage. This is not an issue for TCPA. They're going to try and preserve these statements after TCPA. I don't know why he's spending so much time on them right now. They would have to establish that there was no possible way that their client's statements could have caused any damage. And even if none of the con work, even if he didn't lose any cons after the damaging statements were made, if he lost all of them before the damaging statements were made, there's still potential that some of the damage to his reputation came from these statements. So it doesn't eliminate the damages question entirely. So he's trying to preserve this for after the TCPA. So just so you know.
If you turn to Exhibit 5.
Oh, and the TCPA is the Texas Citizens Participation Act. It's the anti-SLAPP statute, which allows you to immediately defeat a speech-based lawsuit if you can show that it was only brought to suppress your speech and it was completely frivolous. So there you go.
Are you familiar with a online blog called the Tao of Dragon Ball?
No, sir.
Don't know if that's popular with Dragon Ball fans or not.
It may be. I don't know.
Were you aware that the Tao of Dragon Ball wrote an article about you?
I'm sorry?
Were you aware that the Tao of Dragon Ball wrote an article about you titled?
I don't. This period was very,
Okay. So,
I don't know specifically.
all right. As you sit here today, have you ever read this Exhibit 5?
Not that I recall.
Okay. So you don't know what it says
No, sir.
about you one way or the other.
No, sir.
And so you can't comment on whether or not you blame any of the defendants for any of the information in it. I mean, you don't even know whether or not the article is defamatory.
I don't, but I would lay odds that it is. Shall we read it and find out?
All right, I'll represent to you that this article was posted online on February 1, 2019. When you print it out, for whatever reason, it didn't print out the date. So you with me? All right, so I want to turn to page 3 of Exhibit 5.
Okay.
All right, first full paragraph, second sentence reads, however, numerous allegations of sexual assault have shadowed Mignogna's career and continue up to today. During the research for this article, over 100 independent allegations surfaced dating back to 2013. Do you agree with that statement?
No, sir.
You don't think that there's been numerous allegations of assault?
It didn't say
shadowing your
numerous.
career?
It says over 100. I don't agree with that. I've not seen a list of 100 names.
Does it make a difference to you if it's 100 names or 10?
Yeah,
Makes a
absolutely.
difference to them. That's why they said 100. It sounds much more impressive.
Objections non-responsive. Does it make a difference to you if you're accused of 10 allegations of sexual assault or just 100 or 100? Does it make a difference?
Yes, it does.
And why does it make a difference?
Because in a world of 4 billion people, there are going to be people that don't like you for whatever reason or have a problem with you. And the more people there are, the more troubling it is.
Are you aware of any other voice actors that have had numerous allegations of improper behavior against
Yes.
them? Like who?
I'm not going to name them.
Fair enough. So you're not the only one.
No, sir.
I assume you're familiar with the Me Too movement.
Yes, sir.
I take it you also believe that sexual assault victims ought to be heard,
Yes.
and you certainly don't want to silence them in any way, right?
No, sir.
Would you say you do, though, please?
Would you agree that most of your fans tend to be female?
No, sir.
If you turn to page 8, first full paragraph, it starts with another or
Yes, sir.
another. All right, if you skip,
I think the reason you've seen this is because I read it in the transcript in a different video prior to having the video depositions out. Because we have not seen this. There's no way we saw this before. So there you go. And if you think we've seen this, maybe Jay Sean's just repeating himself. You'll have to go back and watch. You'll have to go back and look. I need to know if have you ever watched this video clip? Would you agree that you watched this video clip before? Would you agree? Let me read some super chats. Fatal System Error says it's not Nick Rekieta's show without a boomer moment. To be fair, that was a boomer 30 minutes. The Gun Kid says Nick, under Texas Penal Code, what is known colloquially in Texas as simple assault, is codified as it's in there. Good. A3 of section 22.01 assault, which is simply offensive or provocative physical contact, i.e. ass grabs or hair pulling. Thank you, The Gun Kid, for looking that up midstream. That's very helpful of you. Andy M says, I swear Moronica's lawyers are doing more damage to these people's reputations than anyone else. Polar Bear Jago says, Lemoyne, you ever had relations with women before? Vic, yes. Lemoyne, how good was it? How many times? What? Objection, I'm responsive. Miriam007 says the chat room is the Risenbull Ranger Discord and it's for Rangers only. Doug Confair says, you read the transcript on stream, you senile boomer. Well, I'm going to have to, I'm checking myself into the home tomorrow. Krypton Born One says, a lot of these questions by opposing counsel sound stupid in regards to how social media works, fandom, etc. But it just occurred to me that a jury may be just as out of step, and a judge. You think it's a possibility that could be, detrimental or worrisome? No, I'm not worried about them. Because Beard, Harris, Bulk, and Hughes will have the chance to explain to the judge or the jury any of these things in their own way, and they're not going to get by on a cheap gimme of, well, the jury didn't understand. Oh, excuse me, the jury didn't understand Twitter, so they lose type thing. Melidia says, Jay Sean, give me my Lemoyne. Lemoney is being a broken record. That's why the video is so familiar. Eduardo Brandy says, listening to Lemoyne's illogical questions reminds me of the Chimera dog from Full Metal Alchemist. Help me, Vic. Can you let us win this case? Help me, Vic. Can you let us win this case, Vic? Can you? Didacta says, 3 questions. First, will Jamie Markey try and say, I was tweeting about someone else, not Vic? She won't get that. I've actually got the February 6th tweet here is it's the I want his head, I want his balls tweet, I believe. And she's responding to Monica Rial saying, it happened to me. Stop harassing my friends and colleagues. And then the person, Alicia Nicole, saying, for the love of God, if you want people to leave you alone, stop talking about it. You've been dragging this out since the entire thing started. He has been canceled from all future conventions. What more do you want? His head? Either speak your piece or drop it. And that's where Markey responds, yes, I want his head. I want his balls. Very ill thought out play by Jamie Markey. That, if they can show defamation, that tweet alone may just go ahead and prove that she's willing to lie about it because of the anger. Second, will we see Ty Beard on the show in the near future discussing the depositions? Well, I'm working to get him on Thursday. I don't know if he'll talk too much about the depositions. And third, what is the weirdest part about this case? How poorly the legal maneuvers of the defense are. Very weird. Or how poorly the defendants are doing in their legal maneuvers. Probably because they're not able to pay them. And finally, Nix Hex says, speaking of the legal system and false rape accusations, what are your preliminary thoughts on the upcoming appointment of a new justice? Also, would you trade Stevens for Ruth Bader Ginsburg? I'd take Ruth over Stevens. Wait. God, they both suck. I think I'd take Ruth over Stevens, though. Upcoming appointment of a new justice. I just hope Trump gets to do it. That's all. All right, let's move on.
Down 4 sentences, it reads, this issue is exacerbated by his age, as any 56-year-old who spends so much time interacting with young girls on a website without parental supervision and who then embraces and kisses these children at conventions is going to raise eyebrows, even if innocuous. You agree with that statement?
No, sir. This is completely inflammatory.
You don't think that it's odd that a 56-year-old man embraces and kisses children at a convention is
no, sir.
Going to raise eyebrows?
Sorry?
What's inflammatory about the statement?
If I may.
Sure.
Sorry.
So much time. Oh, how much is that? Who's to determine how much so much time is on a website without parental supervision? The person who wrote this does not know any of that factually. This is meant to inflame. Hold on. Let me please finish. Embraces and kisses children.
Look at that. He just chatted down Jay Sean. Let me finish. Hold on. You shut up for a second. How is this not inflammatory?
Yeah, like every other voice actor does in public for photo ops at conventions. It's not seedy and dirty and pervy. And the vast majority of the people, many of them that I have met over the years, have no problem whatsoever with it. There is a small contingent that does, and I apologized to those people in the tweet where I said, I accept that I need to be more mindful that not everybody is open to that kind of interaction.
And do you blame the defendants for people who've had that type of interaction or that reaction to this?
No.
But you'd agree with me that that type of reaction, the fact that it's being talked about, has damaged your reputation?
Please rephrase.
Yeah, the fact that people have reacted negatively, whether it's true or not, to you kissing young girls, that has damaged your reputation as we sit here today.
To a degree.
All right, if you look at page 9, under the word allegations, are you familiar with a site called Vic Mignogna Horror Stories?
No, sir.
First time you've ever heard of it today?
Yes, sir.
Didn't know that it ran for 6 years?
No, sir.
Neither did anyone else.
Are you familiar with a Twitter Kick Vic?
I certainly know of it, yes.
Do you know when it started?
If memory serves, it started very shortly after January 16th, when the first tweets were posted.
And do you blame any of the defendants for that Twitter handle starting?
I don't know their involvement.
Right. Would you agree with me that that Twitter handle has gotten some level of notoriety in your community?
Sure.
And would you agree with me that that's also hurt your reputation?
Sure.
Do you know who created the I Stand With Vic Twitter?
No, I don't actually.
If you turn to page 17, top paragraph reads, even without definitive proof, following these recent allegations in January, several conventions announced that Vic Mignogna would no longer attend their convention. For example, on January 28, 2019, Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City announced that Vic had canceled his scheduled appearance. Is that true?
Which part of it?
Good question.
No, it's fine.
My apologies. Did Planet Comic-Con cancel your, announce that you would, wait a minute, did you cancel your appearance to Planet Comic-Con?
No, sir.
Did Planet Comic-Con cancel your
Yes, sir.
appearance? Did they tell you why?
No, sir.
Ever spoken to anybody?
Well, I assume because of what was going on, but I don't know.
But nobody that runs Planet Comic-Con has told you why you
No,
weren't
sir.
invited? Okay. If you look at the bottom of page 17, last full paragraph. Likewise, the Ranger Stop and Pop Atlanta convention announced on January 18th that Vic would attend the convention, but then fans sent them the allegations and requested #KickVic. The staff replied they had not heard these allegations before and investigated them. Then on January 28th, the staff canceled. Is it true that Ranger Stop and Pop Atlanta canceled your attendance?
Yes, sir. This was a first-year convention, by the way. This was run by a friend of mine, Rekieta, she was one of the organizers of it, and she had invited me, and then she called me to say that they were just kind of really surprised by all these anonymous messages they were getting, and they really were afraid, being a first-year event. And so, yes.
And do you know how to spell that?
Okay, now I know that we haven't seen this, that this was from the transcript, because I remember reading out this part of the transcript. Why didn't Lemoyne get one of those voice box things and he'd be like, "No, will you tell me what's on the transcript on page 13?
That lady's name?
I'm so sorry.
Do you know how to spell her name?
Rekieta, Nakia, Burrise, Burrise, I think. She was the Yellow Ranger in one of the incarnations of Power Rangers.
And when you talked to Ms. Burrise, did she say that anything that any of the defendants said or did was why they were canceling that?
Not specifically, no.
Did she imply that it was something that one of the
Not
defendants?
specifically, no. She didn't say any names.
Okay. So looking on page 18, Exhibit 5, page 18. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Second full paragraph. This was followed on January 30th by Emerald City Comic-Con announcing Vic Mignogna's appearance at Emerald City Comic-Con has been canceled. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And did you talk to anybody at the Emerald City Comic-Con?
I did not speak with them. I spoke with one of my friends, an agent of mine who was working with Emerald City.
And who was that?
His name is Gary Hassan.
And what did Mr. Hassan tell you?
Gary told me that Emerald City is owned by a larger company that puts on several events. I believe the company is called that's ReedPop. There are two big companies that buy a lot of conventions. There's ReedPop and there's Informa. And Emerald City, I believe, is owned by ReedPop. And for the same reasons, they told my They told Gary that that they had received anonymous, negative accusations, and that they were canceling me.
And did Mr. Hassan relay to you that anything the defendants did caused Reed Pop to cancel that convention?
Not this specific convention, no, sir.
Are you familiar with the concept of a broken
I think that's actually an incorrect statement by Vic, because that I believe that Anime News Network article that came out at this time did go ahead and suggest that he was fired from Funimation, and he had already been let go from Funimation. So I think, Monica lying to Funimation about Vic is part of the defamation. So just so we're good, so we're clear on that.
Staircase?
I'm sorry.
Have you ever heard of a broken staircase?
No, sir.
Did you know that you were mentioned on a website called Broken Staircase?
Have you ever heard of a staircase that is broken? What about one where you step on it and you fall through the step? That's a broken staircase. Wouldn't you agree that you raped girls?
.info.
What is it?
Turn to page 23 of Exhibit 5. If you look under Broken Staircase, apparently you're the third entry on the list for sexual misconduct with minors, physical boundary violations, verbal and physical sexual harassment, homophobia, and anti-Semitism. I take it you didn't know that.
No, I've heard that there was a list.
Okay.
And it's preposterous.
And obviously you disagree with that.
Absolutely.
But you would agree with me that being on that kind of list is damaging to your reputation.
Sure.
Do you attribute anything that the defendants have done for you being on that list?
I don't know. I don't know what any actions behind that I'm unaware of might be.
Do you recall the date that you were terminated by Funimation?
Well, can I consult one of your exhibits?
Sure.
Whichever. Okay, so the conversation with Tammy.
January 25.
Straight grab.
So I would guess it was on or about January 27, 28, I think, roughly.
And that's when they called you and said,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
you familiar with Kara Edwards?
Yes, sir.
And she's a voice actor in Dragon Ball Super.
Yes, sir.
I forget. Adam Sheehan used to work at Funimation.
Yes, sir.
And have you ever had any negative run-ins with Mr. Sheehan?
No, sir.
Would it surprise you to learn that Mr. Sheehan considered the sexual assault allegations against you to be an open secret within the voice acting industry?
Yes, it would surprise me. All of my interactions with Mr. Sheehan were always very positive and friendly. As we established early on in this deposition, I apparently am not very good at assessing friends.
Right. If you turn to Exhibit 6. I will represent to you that it's a screenshot from Rooster Teeth's Twitter account. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with this tweet?
Hold on, counsel. Exhibit 6.
Sorry.
It's this one.
All right, got it. Well, you got the color one, so I got the black one.
I'll represent to you that this was sent out on February 5th, 19, and I think you were told you were terminated by Rooster Teeth on February 4th, 2019. That sound right?
I believe you. I didn't see this, but I was told about it.
Okay.
I was in a pretty difficult state at this point.
anything on Exhibit 6 that you consider to be defamatory about you, obviously?
Sorry, not the super fast reader.
Sorry.
No, sir.
Would you agree with me that even if it's not defamatory, that being terminated by Rooster Teeth in a public way hurt your reputation?
Sure.
Would you associate that termination with you losing invitations to any cons?
Possibly.
Anybody ever tell you that because Rooster Teeth terminated you, we're not going to invite you to this con?
There were certainly conventions that told me that because I was terminated by Funimation and Rooster Teeth, so in the same sentence they included Rooster Teeth.
As you sit here today, do you think that Rooster Teeth has defamed you in any way?
Maybe. Say maybe, please.
Not verbally, not publicly.
Do you think privately they've defamed you in some way that you're aware of?
Possibly. I'm not aware of anything specific. But as you asked me earlier in the day, terminating me without even so much as a conversation or any kind of an understanding of it was pretty difficult.
Okay, so again, they're working on this idea that their defendants aren't responsible for the damage. Other people are. Well, it was the articles. Well, it was Rooster Teeth. It was all this. That's what caused the damage to Vic. But I really don't think, first of all, Rooster Teeth terminated Vic on February 5th, and these people had already been speaking to publications. They'd already been speaking about Vic leading up to February 5th. So it's not really so simple as to say, oh yeah, without well, it was Rooster Teeth's problem. What triggered all of this, of course, is the actions of other voice actors. Monica, Jamie, and Funimation's statement really doesn't help. Without Funimation's statement talking about an investigation, Monica, Jamie, Toye, anybody else would have had to make up the investigation story from Rooster Teeth or be leaking information that they shouldn't have. That's what would have to be going on. Without Funimation's statement that there was, this investigation occurred, which reinvigorated the Shrieking Harpy crowd. Without that, it was this confluence of events. And again, when they get to the damages phase, they'll have to try and attribute all of the damage to these people. But the main damages that matter right now are Funimation. And Funimation's not off the hook. Even if I can get Ron and Monica off the hook, Funimation will still be on it. And Funimation should definitely think about what I'm doing. Because when they realize that Monica and Ron are trying to slough their responsibility onto Funimation only, then they'll know that maybe they're not allies. All right, Carlos Portillo says, why does he sound like he's got a squid up his nose? West Nile virus murdered one of his lungs. That's the short answer. Several mosquitoes have been sent to finish the job. All agents have stopped responding.
You turn to Exhibit 7. Are you familiar with the Funimation tweet terminating you?
Yes, sir.
You've seen it before?
Yes, sir.
And is this a true and correct copy of that termination?
This is one of them.
There was more than one?
Yes, sir. Am I correct? I'm sorry. May I consult my counsel? Is that okay?
Well, how about this? I will represent to you. I'm not trying to trick you. I'll represent to you that there's I took this from Funimation's page and did a screenshot of it, and those are the
I think if you look here,
It's below.
Oh, there it is. I'm so sorry. It's below. That's the second tweet. I was just looking at the first one. So underneath it is another one, and then a third one, right?
Right. Okay, so let me break it down into components. The first thing is, do you consider the top part of Exhibit 7 the big tweet on February 11th, 2019 that says, everyone, we want to give you an update on the Vic Mignogna situation. Following an investigation, Funimation recast Vic Mignogna and Morose Monique in Season 2. Funimation will not be engaging Mignogna in future productions. Do you consider that to be defamatory?
No, sir. That's not the big tweet. The big tweets are the follows.
The two smaller ones.
Right.
And when I say big tweet, I'm just saying it's physically bigger.
I was going to say, okay, I thought you were
Right.
big as in important.
Right. So
Sorry.
Right. So it's the two tweets below what we call the second and third tweets that you would consider to be defamatory.
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And the reason you consider them to be defamatory is what?
Because they clearly imply that I am guilty of harassment, threatening behavior. There's no proof or evidence of that. And if I'm not mistaken, Funimation on the phone told me that they were not going to be releasing any public statement when they terminated me. I should say Sony. In the conversation they called me and terminated me, they said they would not be releasing any public statement. And shortly after, I can't remember, a week, 2 weeks after, maybe a week, they released these tweets publicly.
Okay. Were there any other tweets other than these tweets?
Not that I'm aware of.
Let's pause for a second. Go on a journey with me here. We're gonna, we've got let's do this. Let me go ahead and, oh wait, no, that's not what I want. I want this. So Lemoyne is going after this, right? And he's trying to prove that not his defendant's fault. So Vic just said that the Funimation thing did a lot of damage, and he specifically said that they said they would not, right? Like they would not make a comment on it. Okay? Okay. So that's the basis here. Let me see. Where is it? I've got to find it real quick. Pardon me. I believe I've got a communication from Monica Rial telling them that they have to make a statement. They have to. Where are we? Hold on, I'm finding it here. This is the best. I know this is the best television that there is me looking through these emails. But you have to understand, there's 100 pages of emails that I'm skimming through as fast as I possibly can. Is this it? Here we go. Here we go. So, is Monica involved in this? Let me get this up on screen. I can't just drag the window over from this one for various reasons. But let me here we go. Monica Rial to Lisa Gibson, January 30th. Read this one. I might have one more for you. Hi, Lisa. Writing because I'm at a loss. I know the investigation is over, and I was told we are no longer engaging with Vic Mignogna countless times. I just don't know what to say when people ask me about it. This experience has brought up all kinds of emotions, and now I'm being bombarded by folks online with questions about it. I understand you may not know what to tell me, and that's fine, but I don't know where to turn. I can't even look at social media anymore. I get so angry and upset I want to speak out, but I don't know what I can say. Ken. What will you allow me to say? I asked Justin about it, but he hasn't gotten back to me. I understand if Funny is waiting to make a statement after Broly has finished its run. Hell, I understand if Funny doesn't want to make a statement at all. The thing is, I don't have that choice. They will just keep bombarding me with questions. Sorry to bother you with this, but I don't know where to go from here. Man, that kind of looks like Funimation might have some control over what Monica says on social media, doesn't it? It's a little weird, right? A little weird. Let's see. Here we go. Let's read these next two. So this is the response to that, and then the response to that. Lisa Gibson responds, I just saw this. Do you want to talk tonight or tomorrow? Then Monica says, sorry to bug you with this when you're off duty. I didn't expect you to see it till tomorrow. I know you guys are in a precarious position, and I don't want to put you in an awkward situation. That said, I would really appreciate it if we could talk tomorrow, if only because I don't know how to respond to questions. If not, I totally understand. And then the next ones, I'm not going to pull up the next ones, but just because they don't say much, I'll just read them to you. Lisa says, there is no off duty with this job. I'd love to talk. My cell number is blank. Tomorrow works. Let me know when you're available and we'll figure it out. Monica says, I'm free after 12:30 tomorrow. I know Barreto has an interview for me to do, but we haven't locked down any time. My number is blank. Thank you, Monica. And Lisa says, sounds good. Hang in there. God, it kind of looks like maybe, just maybe, Funimation has a little more control over the actions of Monica Rial than we were led to believe when they said they don't control what goes out on social media of their people. So just wanted to put that out there. If Monica thinks that this is going to get her out of it, the only way it gets her out of it is if she's an employee, because otherwise she's egging on Funimation to do this. Wait, what does that sound like? What is it? What is it when two people get together, two different entities get together to cause specifically some defamatory statement to be made? Oh, God, what was it? Civil conspiracy. That's it. Okay.
Looking at the second and third tweets, is there anything you think that is untrue about those statements?
Well, as I said, it's a matter of implication.
Okay, but on its face, there's nothing that you would point and say that statement that Stoney doesn't condone harassment of any kind is untrue.
I'm sorry, please say that again.
Right. As you sit here today, do you think Funimation or Sony condones harassment?
Of course not.
Okay.
No, Vic, of course they do.
If you turn to Exhibit 8, are you familiar with a magazine called...
Oh, that's awesome. What a great picture.
Are you familiar with a...
No, sir.
All right, let me get my question out.
Oh, I thought you just asked it and were repeating it. I apologize.
Are you familiar with a online magazine called Gizmodo?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen or read the article from Gizmodo written on February 19th, 2019, titled one of anime's biggest voices accused of sexual harassment?
No, sir.
So you've never seen it before today?
No, sir. I was told it existed. I've not read it myself.
All right, so you haven't... I could go through this, but you can't comment one way or another in terms of, as we strike that. right now, do you know whether or not this article is defamatory about you
I
or
could
not?
lay really good odds.
Okay. Do you know if you turn to page 2, do you know Beth Elderkin?
No. I mean, I know the name, but I don't know her personally.
And did Ms. Elderkin reach out to you to comment on this particular
Yes,
article?
she did.
And did you comment?
I did.
And did she, how did that, was it online? Strike that. Did you email each other or was it a phone conversation?
She emailed me, and I replied.
And so did she, in the email, did she list out the allegations against you and
Yes.
ask for responses?
Yes, and I replied to them, and she picked and chose my replies to put into the article, and omitted portions of of my replies.
Do you still have the copy of that email?
I'm sure again, I'm sure it's in an old email folder.
Do you know if you provided it to your attorneys at some point?
Had I even retained you at that point?
February 19th.
If we have it, we'll produce it.
Are you asking, sir, about my reply, or are you asking about her email to me requesting a comment?
Well,
So-
I don't know.
I didn't know how you communicated with her.
She wrote me,
wrote-
unsolicited,
right.
said, I'm writing an article for IO9, and I'd like to ask if you would comment on these issues. And I commented on them bullet point
Right.
and sent it back to her.
And was it a pretty lengthy email that she sent to you?
I'm pausing this video because someone told me not to. This is one of the parts where we're like, I obviously am not representing Vic, because if I were ever representing Vic and he asked me if he should respond to an IO9 article or any other article, I would say, no, for the love of God, no, don't respond at all, ever. Just don't respond. They have no interest in reporting this accurately. They have no interest in representing your side of the story. They will take your story and twist it. So clearly, I am not representing Vic Mignogna, because if I were, he would have never ever answered that article. I imagine the same would be true for Ty, because I'm pretty sure that came out well before his representation, or the email exchange happened well before Ty had actually been retained. So, yeah. So we're not gonna let's not mince words. This was a mistake by Vic early on, as I believe the apologies, even though the apologies are not. The apologies I don't think are completely damning to the case. I think they were a mistake. I don't think he should have ever apologized for anything in public or private. He should never have done any of that. Although his heartfelt apology makes for great television, right? His one to Monica and it really makes her look like a pile of garbage. I don't think legally he should have made any of them, because any admission of even related guilt they will try and use against him, and they won't do him any good. They won't do him any good. They never will.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you went through each of them and did
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Counsel, if I might, I think all that has been released out on Twitter, both the email she sent to Vic and Vic's response.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I'm not implying that you didn't produce it. I just hadn't seen it.
I'm just trying to I'm trying to rack my brain to know if I did. It was real early when this stuff was going on. I don't think
Okay,
so.
regardless, there was no oral conversation
No,
with
sir.
Ms. Elderkin. Okay, so we could go look and we'll get the email and see exactly how you responded to whatever she wrote.
No oral with myself.
If you turn to page 6, top paragraph reads, when reached by 09 comment, Mignogna said that he had never forced himself on anyone claiming that any and all encounters I've ever had have been 100% consensual. He gave specific responses to the accusations present in this article, denying some and providing his own version of events on others. I read that correctly?
Yes, sir.
And you haven't read the article, so you don't know if she...
Sorry, I got lost. Where's that?
Page 6,
Page 6. Okay.
very top.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Got it.
But you haven't gone through this article to figure out whether or not she accurately portrayed your commentary, your responses.
I was told that by people who knew what I had responded to her and then read the article that she did not print my complete responses.
Right. Did anyone help you craft your responses?
Yes.
Was it an attorney?
No.
Who was it?
It was a man and wife couple named Jessica and Cliff. Jessica and Cliff. I don't know their last names. They're PR, kind of just kind of help people. And somebody, actually, it was. I think Todd Habercorn
I'll get you those
referred
names.
them to me.
That's fine. And let me ask a few follow-up questions, see if I jog your memory a little bit.
And a pause. This is a problem, right? Because we've heard over and over, just hire PR people, hire PR people. That's what Vic should have done. Hire PR people. He did. Now, I know many of these people didn't know that until the deposition came out, but he did hire PR people. They told him to answer the article. They helped him craft statements. All have been unmitigated disasters. Traditional PR doesn't work for this type of thing anymore. It's gone. It's dead. Bury it. Bury it. You don't need a press release. You don't need an apology statement. You don't need well, I'm very sorry for all of my actions that may have caused damage. I'd just like to move on from this event, and I really hope that no one was offended. And if you were, please contact me so I can apologize to you more personally about your specific thing. And I'm donating $10,000 to the nearest sex offender charity that I can possibly find. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked for at least a decade. It will never work again. PR firms, BTFO, you're done. You're done. They don't work. And no PR firm is going to get you back into a convention. They're just not. Why'd you uninvite him? Well, we heard he raped a bunch of people. Listen, I just need you to invite him back because that'll be helpful. No.
Ever used Jessica and Cliff's services before?
No.
Todd Habercorn is a person that introduced you.
Yes. Well, May I
Sure.
revise that? What I mean is, I understood that they had helped him craft a statement. I didn't know what to do or how to respond to everything that was happening, so I reached out to them to see if they could help me as well. Todd did not call me and say this is their name and number.
Now, did you know Jessica and Cliff outside of?
No, sir.
That's the first time you'd ever met.
Yes, sir.
And so that would have been sometime in 2019.
Yes, sir.
And do you know are they local to Dallas?
No, sir. I believe they're in Florida.
Florida.
And did you pay them?
Yes, sir.
And did you meet them in person to discuss the
No, sir.
issues? Talk to them on the phone?
Yes, sir.
And would you have emailed with them?
I probably did.
Were there multiple drafts of your response that y'all went over?
Yes, probably.
And do you know, and would you have emailed those back and forth?
Between them and me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And do you know where those did you save those drafts on your computer somewhere?
No more than you save a rough draft of something. You save the final draft, and you work on something. And
But you would have edited the draft, sent it to them, they would have edited it, sent it back?
actually, no. More times than not, they would write something, and then they would send it to me, and then I would make adjustments to it that I felt were appropriate. And if I may say, there were things that they actually suggested that I never posted. I never ever released. Like, we talked about something, and then I just didn't feel good about releasing it at all.
Meaning there was personal information that you didn't want to disclose.
No, meaning that they wrote up something that I didn't want to release, that I didn't want to get out. Not personal information, just didn't want to exacerbate the situation, you know?
If you look at exhibit, still in Exhibit 8, page 7,
Yes, sir.
there's a reference to a woman named Rachel.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall, do you know that who Rachel is?
No, sir.
If you look at on page 7, the second full paragraph, it says Mignogna acknowledges events that happened, including they rubbed the back of Rachel's thighs, but said the encounter was consensual. You sure you don't remember who that is? It's obviously her name is not Rachel.
May I have a minute to read this?
Sure.
Where's Rachel start here?
Page 6. Last paragraph.
Yes, I believe that's Kara Edwards. And I think that I replied in my reply to, in the email that I sent to Beth Elderkin. I believe. But in my reply, I stated very clearly that many of the details of this were untrue.
All right. If you turn to Exhibit 8, page 9.
It's so funny to me.
Which is funny.
I'm reading this. So she has this horrific experience, and then a second situation, she agreed to come by my room briefly. Now, why would she do that? I'm sorry. I didn't even, like I said, some of this is still kind of fresh.
If you look at the bottom of page 7.
Yes, sir.
Last paragraph. It says, Rachel says she did not report the incident to hotel management or to police because she feared Mignogna would attempt to negatively impact her career. He's very well known in the industry, very, very powerful in our industry, she said. Would you agree with the statement that you're very, very powerful in the industry?
No, sir.
And why do you disagree with that?
Because it's not true. Voice actors are a dime a dozen. And
So
I have no power or influence. I auditioned for roles for 20 years just like everyone else. I get some, I don't get many others.
Good answer. Very good answer.
if you turn exhibit at page 9. Third full paragraph.
Yes, sir.
It says in 2014, a professional cosplayer, Diana, that's not her real name. Do you know who it is?
I'm fairly certain it was someone at an event in Hawaii. I'm fairly certain it was at an event, but I'm not sure again. But I believe it was at an event.
And when Ms. Elderkin provided you the information, did she use the actual names?
No, she did not.
She used, okay, so pseudonyms of some sort.
Yes, sir. And of course, when I replied, I used the names of the people I believed they were. Of course, she didn't publish that, but.
Excuse me.
Well, we knew that was Ty's cough and not Jay Sean's.
Are you aware of anyone being harassed online that has come out against you in this during this controversy?
No. Not personally, no. I do know that people that have defended me have been viciously harassed. I do know that.
All right, if you turn to page 15.
Sorry?
Page 15.
15?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Top paragraph, 4 sentences down. It starts, but an email shared with I09 also showed Mignogna.
1 second, please.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
15, 15,
Couldn't quite make out what.
12. Okay, I don't see 15. Hang on.
Okay, Exhibit 8,
Oh, Exhibit 8.
page 15.
My bad.
The cops are on the other video, not on mine. That's not from me. That's on the deposition video.
You with me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
Yeah,
All
sorry.
right. First full paragraph, 4 sentences down says, but an email shared with I09 also showed Mignogna 3 days later, privately telling a fan how a certain voice actor had turned to be hateful toward me. Mignogna mentioned that person by name. Do you know who that is?
No. 3 days later from what? I'm trying to get a context here.
Looks like it would be February 11th, based on context.
Harassment included. Oh, this is okay. So the context here is people being harassed, correct?
Yes.
Or somehow being messed with because, right?
Yes.
No, I don't know. Showed Mignogna 3 days later privately telling a fan how a certain voice actor had turned to be hateful toward me. Well, I don't remember that, but I don't. That certainly has happened. But I have never encouraged anyone to do anything hateful or negative, attacking. Certainly not death threats.
And anybody associated with you, do you know if they've encouraged that type of behavior?
No, sir. I've heard people tell that they've received death threats, and I've also heard that every time they're put on the spot to produce said death threats, they never do. I don't know if that's true or not. So I've heard the buzz, but I don't really have any personal knowledge.
All right, if you turn to page 17. That block quote appears to me to be a quote from Ms. Speck, your former fiance.
Yes, sir.
First paragraph, last sentence, says, I've had to face the reality that the loving, monogamous relationship I believed and was devoted to never existed. Do you agree with Ms. Speck's hindsight review of your relationship?
No.
No.
Good job.
It certainly did exist at some point, but I failed Michelle miserably. I deeply regret that.
And
Good job. Good answer. Good answer. Lemoyne's BTFO has no idea what to ask me.
While you're looking, 2-minute break.
sure.
And we're going off the record at 3:27.
All right, there we go. That's the end of this video. So since I completely boomered the other video. We're not gonna jump into that one right now. We'll pick back up tomorrow. Let's hit the GoFundMe here. They didn't talk about it today, but we're at 225 652. Thank you, of course, for donating. A small sip of 9 gallons. Monica's unobtained college degree. Rekieta's Yoko Littner post time skip body pillow. Oh, thank goodness it was that one. I thought that's why the police were coming. Oh my goodness. Guys, it's not. I mean, I usually boomer the stream in a tiny way. But I will not apologize to you SJWs out there in the audience. So tomorrow we'll pick up with the next video. I'll probably pick the wrong one. And then we may just run through both tomorrow, since those first 24 minutes are out of context. God, I hate that happened. I really do. If anybody out there is timestamping this, make sure you say to just go ahead and skip all of this and only watch if I'm recording my funeral next time or whatever. Because I really, that's something I hate to do. And since it's a live show, there's nothing I can do about that 24 minutes and haunt me. And it's not 24 minutes, right? It's a little longer because there's commentary in there. So it will haunt me for days. So, but there's a bunch of super chats to read. I'm going to wrap up tonight because one, as you saw early on, I'm very, very tired. Tomorrow will be a little bit of a longer stream because we're going to go through, and because of the context that we're going to get in the next segment, we'll go through those 24 minutes again, although I'll probably pause it significantly less, at least for that segment. So you whiners out there in the chat could go ahead and be really happy that I don't pause it for like 24 minutes. But we're going to go through the rest of the video tomorrow. I'm committed because I don't want to be doing this on Thursday. So just forget that those 24 minutes of video ever happened. Contribute to the GoFundMe. There will still be, the GoFundMe names will be brought up tomorrow as well. So, your 24 hours has already started. Feel free to contribute. I will not say I'm sorry. I will not. But if you are going to check out before the super chats or during the super chats, thank you for joining me tonight. Tomorrow will not be boomer free. I would never, ever represent or warrant or otherwise suggest that this stream will be without boomerisms, but I will attempt to at least have the correct video loaded the first time tomorrow, and we'll make sure and get that done. Other than that, thank you for hanging out tonight and roasting me as appropriate, and then we will go ahead and we'll pick it up tomorrow. So I'm going to go back and hit all the chats now. So if you got anything else, of course, you can throw it in. Not that I'm shilling for myself, but I always am shilling for myself. So Grayson says, I'm learning a ton about the importance of body language watching these depos. I've noticed that Vic keeps his arms wide and on the table. I'm no expert, but it comes off as relaxed, dominant, and in control compared to Moron, both of whom appear tense. Having your arms up on the table sets you I'll try to do this with my camera. My camera's a little close for this, but when your hands are on the table, your shoulders are up, it forces you to have a straight back and to lean forward into the question. You notice what Monica did, her hands were down, and as the time went on, she slouched, her neck got wider and fatter than it already was, and she slouched into her answers. She would perk up and lean forward on some answers, and then on other answers, she was back and reclined. This, again, I'm not a body language expert. I am not. You should always, talk to someone who's a professional in this, but just with my lay ability to read people, which I think I do pretty well, actually. I think I'm pretty good at it. I do fine in interpersonal one-on-one communications. Monica retreats, right? The whole time. And all of her answers go here. And eventually her hands will come up to the table and then they'll go back down. But she looks smaller as the time goes on. Vic is always up here. He's always in the conversation. His head is tilted. He's listening, and his eyes are on the questioner. He waits. Sometimes he smiles. Sometimes he doesn't. He'll go back. This is an interesting thing that he does to me. He'll go back, but stay big and up. It's energetic when he retreats from the table because he's going to be bigger. And he doesn't want to be big here in your face. He wants to be big back here. He's going to tell you about how he's in horror anime or eki or all sorts of hentai. He really likes the tentacle stuff. He's going to go ahead and be animated around this position, and then he'll return to that neutral position with his shoulders square and his back straight. Very, very important because it shows that he's comfortable in the entire situation. This is a lot of time dedicated to this chat, but I think it's really, really important. And this is something that you do have to do with clients, both not just in depositions, but in mediations and negotiations, anything that has face-to-face interactions. And I'm decent at those, okay? I don't like to toot my own horn. I'm decent at negotiation. I'm decent at mediation. I'm pretty good at reading people and getting what I am after for my clients. It's something I've been good at my whole career. And almost, if you make no mistake, almost every case settles at some point. So it's a very important skill, and it's very important to get your clients in the right mindset. Because if you have a client back here and down, the other side is not going to think that you're going to, not take their offer. You want your clients up here. You also don't want your clients to, when an offer comes in that your client wants, but maybe is a little lower than you would take, you don't want your client to get excited and come to the table, right? You want your clients at the table the entire time. This stuff is very, very important. This image plays a lot into the psyche of the person you're talking to. Knight of Hopex says, it's kind of poetic justice that a scumbag who acts like a third world dictator like Jayshawn Lemoyne also sounds like he's from the third world because of a disease that originated there. Oh my God. Random says, Carrie, he doesn't know anything. Does he, at all? Casey, objection to form, behave. But I mean, it's accurate. Short Round says, Short Round's bad police advice 7. If you only talk in code about your drug deal, we will never be able to prove that your white girl was actually cocaine. Marianne Miller is the only one fatter and less attractive than Monica. Thar she blows. Hashtag wailing. Hashtag wailing. Don't you dare correct me on Eki. I'm going with Eki. Raw did air India 182 says, don't buy into the idea that Sheepdog is a transsexual, but would love to see what people are saying. Please tell us who is saying this. Also, state of the case video sounds like a great idea. It's a couple people. I know there's at least one person on Kiwi Farms saying it. There's some others around. I don't remember where they all are, but I don't know. Maybe Ron is a transsexual.com. That's a joke. That's a joke that doesn't exist as far as I know. Ozzy Girl says, have you ever heard of an attorney trying to dox someone after they were specifically told not to by a judge? Disrespecting the judge is a puzzling strategy, but I'm just a layman. Casey's done a lot of things that he said that he wouldn't do to the judge, or he's tried a lot of things that he said he wouldn't do right in front of the judge. So here we go. Who knows? Mercenary X says, for boomering it so badly, I give you the title of most horrendous thing I can think of that you deserve. Nick Rekieta equals epic fail. Oh no. You're still better than Shane, his cavalcade of degenerate losers. Theldal of Minions. Theldal of Minions. Says, Monica's hatred for Vic is getting top billing in Stimpy's fan club levels of messed up. I bet when they were working together at Funimation, she was staring off and shaking, going, my hand's dirty. The dirt won't come off. Know you're breathtaking says, the Matrix is glitching. That is quite possibly true. That's usually true around here. Blink Your Eyes 1400 says, usually when people want their friends to get help, they stage interventions and not try to drag their name through the mud. Oh my goodness, he yawns. That's a good point. The best way to actually get someone help is not to go ahead and demolish their career. At the time when you want them to work on a specific aspect of their life, you don't want to take away their career, friends, and fan support at the same time. If you really want them to get healthy, you want them to get healthy. Now, maybe they end up taking a leave from work or something like that. That's on them to do as they want to indicate getting healthy. But if you want to go ahead and take away their, the pillars of their life that still exist, like friends, family, career, fandom, if you've got some sort of fandom, you just go ahead and income, just take away all that stuff, then you're not going to get them help that you want. But of course, these people aren't psychiatrists, they're psychotic. Gutsy by Proxy says you should pick the top 3 GoFundMe names for the knife raffle. Well, we'll see. I think for the knife raffle, we'll probably do the top 3 GoFundMe donations. The knives are on their way to me. However, I must say, I am traveling for like another week and a half, so I won't get the knives. So the knives will be early August that we'll get that taken care of. Hit refresh on the GoFundMe. Okay, I'll do that. There we go. Cody, thanks for donation. Oh, Jesse the Conslut donated. Thank you so much, Jesse the Conslut. That's very nice of you. Angel Ren 89 says, not gonna lie, when Vic answered where I choose in the most mic drop way possible, I immediately became pregnant. Vic is just that much of a Chad. Trex Tenkai says, won't be able to catch the next stream or catch the stream live, but I've enjoyed your commentary, insight, and watching Ron and especially Monica implode on themselves. Keep up the great streams. Hey, thank you. Hopefully this one was a little disappointing. Angel Ren 89 says, GoFundMe cut off the rest of my funny name. It was supposed to say, why does Monica look like Frank Saw It from Ace Attorney? I half expected her to rip off that haircut and throw it in Ty's face. Coolman229 says, hey, Nick, any news on Todd versus Pridemore? No, there's no news on it right now. It's kind of quiet. Todd versus Pridemore. So, as long as Todd's getting work and Pridemore has shut her stupid fat mouth, there's no reason for any action to happen. So I think, the goal in these things is to stop damage being done by damage doers. Some people will say, well, it's to silence your critics. No. Saying someone raped you when they didn't is not a critic. That's a liar. Also maybe a con slut and possibly a whore. Don't know. But that's a liar, okay? So you're not trying to silence your critics. You're trying to stop damage dealers from lying about you and causing damage to your life, career, and reputation. There's a very big difference there. The Argolith says you're tagging way later timestampers than me. I'm hurt. Change your YouTube listing. I'll try and see if I can do that. I just grab the first one I see, but these videos have so many comments that I'm grabbing the first ones that I see. I'll see if I can find you, buddy. Punish Creeps Work says, watched Rial's Depot today. I expect nightmares. Tom S.A. Savage, thank you. Same with Long Branch Penny Whistle, thank you. Tim Hall, thank you for the donation. Morrowind God says, wake up, we got a Chad to watch. Rekieta? Oh, wake up. Tangenting Tangerine says, Walmart banned the sale of tobacco to under 21s in the U.S. despite it being legal in most places. Is there any potential for a discrimination suit? Possibly. They tried that with the guns. I need to see how that worked out. They tried that with guns in like Florida and Washington. I'll see if I can find out what happened there. That'd be an interesting precedent. Cryptage says, just watched her deposition. I can't believe how she can't even keep her story straight. I almost feel embarrassed for her. Almost. Maria Moon, thank you for the donation. BA Productions, Monica's voice is much squeakier in person. Speaking with a lower timbre, in my opinion, proves it was an act. I don't know if it was an act, but it was a good move because I would have wanted to eat a bunch of bleach wipes or whatever if she kept speaking in her higher timbre voice. Garrett Wanzer says, ever tried a black-toothed grin? Quarter ounce of Crown Royal, quarter ounce of Seagram 7, the rest of the shot glass with Coke. Rip Dimebag Daryl. Nope, never tried it. Material Defender, thank you. Vietaf Ramen says, hey, Nick, I'm giving you my first Super Chat cherry, and I also need some help with a sensitive legal matter. May I DM you about it on Twitter? If you need legal assistance, send it to my email, please. Jason Ramsbottom. Apparently, I can give you $2 free, so enjoy. Hey, thank you. Will do. Enjoy Ramsbottoming. Darian the Ghoul says, I feel Carrie would have easily picked up Ron and thrown him way farther than Vic could throw Monica, let alone lift her. Yeah, well, Vic would need a significant pulley system, very sophisticated to lift Monica. Jay says, softballing Monica is all Ron can manage. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Material Defender says Ron is 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. That's nice. Gutsy by Proxy says Ron Soye, the littlest cuck who could bring snacks. CIA Black Ops 115 says Ron, how pathetic is that man? My scouter of his beta level is over 9,000. Georg, thank you. Green Bullet Prod says yesterday I was banned from commenting on the Con Alt Del page for making a joke about Ryan Kopf being a creep. Look him up, Nick. If the allegations are true, he's real scum of the anime industry. Well, we'll have to see. M says, never compare Ron Soye to a vagina. Vaginas can actually take a pounding. Plus, it's an insult to the lovely Lady Rackets and Chad Carey. True. Very true. Very true. I rescind all comparisons to Ron Soye to vagina. We will call him a front hole because front holes are not vaginas. Tyler Knox says, I swear, man, Monica's hatred for Vic getting top billing was Stimpy's fan club levels have messed up. Monica, Vic, the idol of millions. Technotoad said, do we need to draw Ron in a tank top now? I'm not saying you need to do anything. I'm not saying you need to do anything about Ron. Chris Nemo says, have a cool $1.32 in honor of Dark V. Oh, thank you. Fenrir Fire says, this is giving me the Basmati blues. Some noob X says, send Viva Frey on YouTube the depositions. He reviews them. We'll see about that. Midnight in Exile says, Vic and Ty make Ron regret transitioning. So does Monica, but for different reasons. Super Saiyan V Taro says, Monica's plastic surgery. It's a cakewalk. It's a cakewalk. Says, Vic should sell these thirsty boys some bathwater. Blaine20 says, Ron wants on. Check the soy mopeder bar. Devil May Cry 5 says, Nick, quick question. Would it be illegal if Monica and Ron's lawyers quit/back out if they knew it's a total loss? I'm sure they would lose money. They have to give a reason to back out. And interestingly, at this point, Ty could object to their backing out. That would be funny. Super Saiyan V Taro says, Ronica's third leg account. Golden Apples, thank you for the donation. Blaine20 says, I'm so glad the Ron Depo streams are over. The soy fumes were affecting my health. Ultra Uzumaki, thank you for the donations. Harbinger 345 says, as someone whose law expertise is as far as Ron can throw Vic, I can understand people will lie, fake, and act when pulled into court. Woo, lad. Nasenda says, Wild Monica used cry. It's not very effective. Very true. Very true. Tyler Knox says, Monica's hatred for Vic getting top billing has reached Stimpy fan club level of messed up for me. I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to murder him in his sleep. Well, he should watch his back then, apparently. Harbinger 345 says, actually, can Ron throw anything at all? Not effectively. Snarkticon, he could throw a tantrum. Snarkticon DM says, Monty Kong uses fake cry. It's not very effective. Sean Hiruki says, beer, cigar, Mountain Vistas, and Nick. Great night. Oh, sounds like a good one, buddy. Blaine20 says, Mike Dunford wants on. Check the paralegal bullpen. Dumb is censored. Dumb is censored? Brett says, pro tip, play Phoenix Wright music during stream. That's up to you guys. I'm not going to. Shekel Smack, thank you for the donation. Blaine20 says, like, how easy is it to French kiss someone against their will? I mean, look at them choppers. Did Vic use a crowbar to open her jaws? Yeah, Vic would sound like Helen Keller after that. Alex Ray says, is it true that Ty is Todd Haberkorn's lawyer for his lawsuit? Any info on it? It is true that Ty is representing Todd Haberkorn. However, there is not currently a lawsuit filed. Any info on it? No. That would be between Todd and Ty. Mohammed Farah says, just wanted to send my support. Keep doing what you're doing, Nick. Hey, thank you, buddy. These past couple of live streams have been super entertaining. P.S. Still can't get over the fact that Ron Soye pulled up in a wife beater. You know, situational awareness among these people is ridiculous. Blaine20 says, Ron's finger length seem masculine. Midnight in Exile says, I streamed on Ron being a chick today with Canales. Oh, so there you go, guys. You can get some discussion on it by checking out Midnight in Exile on YouTube. They apparently talked about Ron being a female. Super Saiyan V Taro says, Monica sucks. Jack Lay says, hope this supports you and in return supports Vic. What happens next after the depots? Will his legal team then uncover holes in Rial's and Ron testimony? After the depots, which are already done, they'll be fighting the TCPA motion next. But let's save that for Thursday's stream. Tune in on Thursday, and we'll give you a full update on where the case is. Even if Ty can't make it, I will try and give you a full recap of what's going on. Blaine20 says, I suggested to Grums to do a show with you, so maybe he and Jeremy, we'll see. We'll see. I very much like Mark Kern, and I like Jeremy as well, so could be a good show. Cal Channel 14, thank you. Kyle Rambler says, can you break down how long each deposition was? Vic's is 6 hours, Ron's is 4, Monica's was 1 hour 45. I Don't Exist at All says, God's Not Dead 4 is looking real good so far. Bad Dragonite says, he didn't verify himself. Vic ain't Vic, case lost. 93 TJ says, Vic choked up because he knows he's never going to play Broly again. Brawly, according to this weirdo, which is very sad because it was one of his favorite roles. Yeah, it is. It is very sad, actually. DCV Titan says, the guy currently asking Vic questions sounds like Lemoyne would if he won the fight with the mosquito. The Sam Johnson. Big Dummy for Life says, then do I have to watch Nick's streams despite me having barely any time to get through carb crashes after dinner and wanting to do other stuff, or be made fun of by Nick working full hours by way? No, you'll never be made fun of me for not watching the full streams. Never, ever, ever. I don't know how people do it, so you won't be made fun of me for that. No. Idriad Bahakta says, all of Monica's evidence is locked up in Area 51. Thank God they're storming that. That should do great. You know what's a great idea is storming military institutions. Genshiken 2006 says, Ron's pickup line to Monica, I put the STD in stud. All I need is you. Oh, that's despicable. Vanilla Mike, thanks for the donation. San Paku says, does he mean a statement of fact as in is true or is considered factual by the person stating it? Neither of those. The legal definition of a statement of fact is something that can be objectively proven true or false given all possible knowledge. So, did you run that red light? You don't even know if you ran the red light technically, like if it was going from yellow to red as you entered the intersection. You don't know specifically when you crossed into that intersection, whether it was yellow or red. But if you had all knowledge, you would be able to determine if you ran the red light. So, so-and-so entered the intersection while the light was red is a factual statement. Whether or not you can actually prove that statement doesn't matter. Could the statement be proven if all information were available? Let's see. Bill drank an entire bottle of vodka. Well, how do you know Bill drank an entire bottle of vodka? That would be something that you couldn't necessarily prove. Someone else could have had a sip. Bill could have spilled some. Any number of things could have happened. But if you had all knowledge, you could prove definitively that Bill either drank or did not drink an entire bottle of vodka. So hope that helps clarify that. But this is why that question is not a very good question for a non-lawyer, especially a non-lawyer or non-qualified witness. DJ Nutsack says, typical soy SJW taking things out of context to fit their agenda. Sanpan says, depose me harder, daddy. Tom says, the statement of fact is, I did not rape Justine. That's a good statement of fact. Abel Valdez says, I sent you the screenshot of Jamie's tweet they talked to Vic about first. Check your Twitter DMs. Hopefully that's the one you were looking for. Harrison Bui says, have some YouTube schmeckles. Oh, thank you. Jason of the Great Awakening says, how will it affect the case? Now it's obvious Monica imitated Vic's hair badly and completely failed at imitating the Chadliness. She doesn't look good in that depot. She really doesn't. If they play any clips for the jury, they'll probably hate her immediately. Darksaber Force says, I believe Marky is actually worse. Could be. Could be. John Albert says, I read this on Twitter that apparently the guy who saved Monica doesn't recall ever saving her. Yeah, more to come on Stan Dolan as we as things progress. So just stay tuned about Stan. Bad Dragonite says, Nick, the time-traveling blackface boomer lawyer. Keep getting more qualifications as we go. Steve F says, Nick, here for boomer support. Tom Tell says, why would you say I did that to Jessica? That's wild. Frank Casamento says, had to just for conslute Wouldn't let me write the actual word. So that apparently Facebook or YouTube filters out slut, so you have to write sloot. Sloot. No one important says Le Moi in Hubert Farnsworth voice from Futurama. Who's Hubert Farnsworth? Good news, everyone. I'm a horse's butt. I can't. I don't know Hubert Farnsworth's voice, so I can't just do that one. Sorry. DZV Titan, 2 parts, says, looking back, I'm disappointed with Ty's depo of Ron. When he brought up the girl, why wasn't Ty's follow-up? Did you inform the con? Did you inform the cops? Did you take it up with Vic? Because Ron should have offered that. And he'll just say that he didn't. And Ron will have to somehow argue that he did, even though he didn't say it. And then he says, would you agree you're more of a watchdog than a sheepdog, Mr. Toye? Do you like watching? Let me rephrase that. Are you a cuck? I am disappointed that are you a cuck and were you born a woman were not asked. Are you now or have you ever been a woman? Might have been interesting. Atomized Asteroid. Just kidding. These are jokes. These are jokes. Atomized Asteroid says, Nick, you just got West punked by the proboscis of trolling. I know. Cash, thanks for the donation. Miles Tales Power Fan 9 says, Pridemore is just that forgettable, Nick. It's just, if you're a cost thought and you're not making money, get a new career. Snarkticon DM says, showing depots out of order. We lost the case again. I can't stop losing it. Altria Mungara says, in regards to a super chat last night, it was supposed to read Ron is a Skaven and Monica is a trash panda, but the autocorrect ruined it. Polar Bear Diego says, duh. Blaine20 says, the deposition review of Vic Mignogna brought to you by the Mandela Effect in association with the Twilight Zone. Seriously, I spent like 40 minutes of that video going, God, I swear we've seen this. BJ Sparnt says, Jew Wario did nothing wrong. Whoa. Ike 13D says, the Burger King foot lettuce thing was about Marky's lawyer. He sounded like this one YouTube fella that does these top 15 videos and just speaks at the weirdest cadence I've ever heard. Kenneth Campos, thank you for the donation. Oren says, frequent yawning, delusions, forgetfulness, slurred speech, might be cancer, Nick. Good night. Oh, I better check WebMD. Colin Schrader says, wow, who paid Tom Waits to do this interview? No one important says, how many times will Vic wrecked Lemois? I lost count. Mad Butterfly says, was Monica cast as the new Ursula? That haircut, OMG, the water drinking. Watching the Real video right now, but still wanted to send a super chat. Have fun with that. It's horrifying. Gary Flores says, do you help Vic and his lawyer in any cases? No, I do not provide legal assistance to Vic at all. Emma Evans says, loved Carrie's move of establishing Monica and Vic never physically worked together during these recordings, blowing away the I'm not safe narrative. Of course, what's she not safe from in real reality? Like what would she not be safe from? Mr. Jedi says, please mention the assault Vic did in a dream. Well, I don't want to give them ammo on the dream rape. That would be horrifying. Mad Butterfly says, I went to ECCC and I hated that they canceled Vic. My main reason for attending. Sadly, most Real fans probably live in the Seattle and I live among them. Oh God, I'm sorry. Coltagon says, Vic sings One Piece openings 1 and 3 for the anime. Very cool. Darian the Ghoul says, would it be possible for Vic to pursue emotional damages since he had to consult counseling and start taking antidepressants? I don't know if emotional damages are a specific remedy in Texas, but I would think so. David Valencia says, Nick, I made a video about the con slut situation. Oh, cool. Check out David Valencia, I guess. Winged Paragon says, actually made a Twitter to follow you and this better. Oh, thank you. Twitter, you're welcome. Rogue says, y'all notice how it's a bunch of vindictive women with a squad of idiotic soy boys that went after Vic? Pretty disgusting, to be frank, but typical. X Lunar Ray X. No, I got boned. Where did it go? X Lunar Ray X. There it is. A little louder, Lamb Chop. I think you may have a collapsed lung. Joker from Batman under the Red Hood. Sam Callahan says, JC talking like fecking John Laurentis made me keck. Steel Legion, thanks for the donation. Martin J says, Vic lied about his age. He looks and acts 45, not 56. Onyx Steel says, it's familiar because you read it from their leaks. Thank you. Daddy LP says, Vic says literally anything. Nick, good answer. That's not true. I did not say he gave only good answers here. The Reclusiarch says, is Texas a right to work state and does that affect the Funimation portion of the case? Texas is a right to work state. However, right to work does not apply to independent contractors. So if they fired him as a right to work employer, then he's an employee, and that has certain implications. If they fired him as a contractor, they have to follow the specific termination provisions in his contract. Hint, hint, I don't think they did. No one important says, ignore the haters. Nick, love your commentary. Asphyxiation says, can you refuse to answer a malformed question? You can ask them to rephrase or clarify the question. Yes. Baby Metal Rock says, boomer, Nick. Raikkoon86 says, thank you for all your hard work, Nick. Good night. Good night. Hot Snodge says, stop yawning. I tune in to stay awake, not to lull me to sleep. RM Etchy Lover says, I guess I should change my name to Aki Lover. Blaine20 says, did you see the James Charles Monica Rial's comparison photo? Holy yikes. No, I did not. The Big Fee, thanks for the donation. Heart of Perpetual Ice says, if we are switching to Marky tomorrow. Marky has not been deposed yet. Why haven't we gotten a line of questioning about the hotel incident with Monica? Real Spider Phantom says, wait a sec, I can get 12 Vicks for a dime. Yep. Very inexpensive. Emmanuel Atkinson says, I hope you represent Vic one day. I pray to God. He's in good hands with Ty. He's in very good hands with Ty. Jacob Elena says, shout out from Blaine, Minnesota. Keep up the good work. Hey, buddy, played many a soccer game up in Blaine. Big Fee says, as a lawyer, how difficult is it to represent a client that you know is guilty? I feel like some level of sociopathy has to be present. No, you typically don't know that they're guilty of the crime that they're accused of, right? And if you do, you're technically, ethically responsible to urge your client to plead guilty if you know that they're guilty. But who's guilty, right? Whether or not you killed someone isn't the question. Whether you're guilty of murder is the question. And there's a specific set of facts that have to be proven for you to be guilty of a crime. So, but it's really, you get over it very quickly. And you give them the best defense that they can get. And sometimes that best defense is a plea deal. So there you go. Manuel Atkinson says, I'm glad I'm part of this. I know Vic will win. Devil Hunter Nero says, if the TCPA wasn't in place, would Jamie be deposed? Oh, most certainly. Jay Sean Lemois says, can you please just let us win the case? We're trying very hard, but we have stupid clients who keep calling us Holmbergs and trying to pay with old shoes. Blaine20 says, when the mob storms Area 51, they're sure to find Ron and Monica in their natural alien form with their skin suits hanging on a hook nearby. Also, he says, Vic dodged a bullet. Stan is the MVP. Emmanuel Atkinson says, I hope everything goes well, and I thank everyone. Real Spider Phantom says, are you a boomer slut? Well, you'd have to ask Lady Rackets. Rhino says, can Ty use any remaining depot time to insult the defendants? I bet people would super chat to the max to have these insults in court record. In theory, yes. In practice, that'd be a bad idea. Blaine20 says, hashtag stand with Vic, hashtag I am Nick Rekieta, hashtag I am Yellow Flash, hashtag it's all fake, hashtag kick Vic moron, hashtag kick Vic liar. Matthew Farley says, I may be mistaken, but I believe Monica was asked about talking to other conventions or companies about working with Vic, and she said no, other than Kamehacon. You showed an email of her talking to Rooster Teeth about it. Am I reading this wrong? I don't know that you are. Josh Guerrero says, hopefully Vic wins this. Keep up the good work, Nick. Hey, thanks, buddy. That guy Mitch says, seeing how Monica forgave Vic but only decided to go after Vic after hearing that he made moves on her friends makes it sound like she was very, very jelly. Let me get the whiskey drinking lawyer song prepped here. I'm prepping the bull of the whiskey drinking lawyer song. And I think we're at the end of Super Chats. So we're ending kind of almost on time today. A citizen of Yarman says, making a button that gives me an instant how embarrassing for when I go on a kill spree with joke weapons in games. P.S. if Rial is Gozer the Gozerian, then is Lemoyne Vigo the asthmatic Carpathian. I hope so. All right, let's start this up. There's like 2 left. Okay. 2 chats left, but you know that the show is ending because you hear the whiskey drinking lawyer in the background. CJ Dill. Oh, wait, no. That guy Mitch says, seeing how Monica forgave Vic but only decided to go after Vic after hearing that he made moves on her friends makes it sound like she was very jelly. It also makes her sound like a liar. CJ Dill says, I missed the entire stream. God damn it. And BBZ says, debate law Twitter when? It'd be Kino. They can't debate this issue. They're not following the facts. And they're very selectively citing the law. Ryan Whitehead says, great job on the stream. Heart of Perpetual Ice says, what I meant was if her attorney is taking over the depot, this seemed to be glossed over, kind of a major part of their case. Well, we'll have to see where her attorney is taking over the depot and what happens before that. So we'll have to check that tomorrow. Nova Zero says, wait, you're telling us to ask your wife if she's both a boomer and a slut? Phrasing, Nikki. No, ask her if I am a boomer slut. So there you go. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for the final part of Vic's deposition. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.
There's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dante to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed, so pour out a glass for the tea. Post on Twitter as we hear lawsplaining tonight. From the wide shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now.